No, that's normal.
That's normal.
Well, back in the day, I mean, you got to realize, like, you had Craig Titus and Cormier, and those guys were partiers.
Oh.
And, it wasn't just, anabolic drugs. It was recreational drugs, too. And when you get a bunch of guys with muscle and a bunch of girls with muscle and on a lot of androgens on both sides, you're going to have some really kinky orgies. Wow. Yeah.
And we're live.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
That must be that next level of muscle then, huh?
That is, I don't have that next level of muscle. I was never successful enough to partake in large bodybuilding orgies. And hopefully one day I get to that level.
What did you see exactly?
Do you really want to know?
I'm just curious. Like, what did you walk in, see, and then turn away?
Well, I found out at that point that steroids do not make your penis smaller. It was a large. I'm not going to say who it was, but
I think you can say who it was when it's a large penis. If it's a small penis, it's like, I think we should just keep it amongst each other, you know?
Well, I mean, I think we've all moved on past those days. I don't know if they want me to state who they were, but yeah, it was an act of oral copulation. Is that the proper terminology?
I think so.
Of a popular fitness girl at the time and a well-known bodybuilder. And the guy made me feel insignificant in so many ways.
Oh.
He was larger than me everywhere.
That's that old trip to the urinal.
Yeah, but I saw it. I walked in and I just walked right out. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be a good look, because I was like 21, just starting out at Weider, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to get fired. And getting caught up in a hot bodybuilding orgy wasn't. I don't think my wife, my fiance at the time, would have been too appreciative of that either. But we didn't have camera phones, so there were a lot more. I mean, now you can't have a private orgy. Well, no. Orgies aren't really private, but you can't have, like, if you have an orgy, it's gonna be on Snapchat or Instagram.
Yep.
It's gonna be somewhere. Like, it's getting out. You can't have any covert orgies anymore, and that's what I don't like about social media.
Because some people have camera phones now.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you can have your orgies, and now there's just no sense of privacy. Someone's gonna sneak a selfie, like. And there you are, just right there.
I've seen a lot of your posts more recently, and then I saw a post maybe about 3 weeks ago. And I don't know if you were just like kidding or if it was serious, because you were like, all right, like, I got to pull back from this. I'm sorry. I'm going to kind of move on. And then the next 5 posts, you were right back.
Well, I cut down with the cursing more. But what I found is that in this day and age, the term silence is deafening has become kind of the thing, where if you don't have a position on something, they immediately assume you have the position they don't want you to have. For example, with the black squares on Blackout. Oh, sorry. Should I drink this?
Yes.
Yeah. Drink some Kratom. Let's see what happens.
Make me happy.
Mindblower.com.
Yeah. All right. So is this going to make me smarter?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
Hopefully it turns into a big orgy, like I said. We wash that down with some caffeine, we'll be good.
Should be perfect.
So what I found, like, with the whole Blackout Tuesday thing is we as a company had to deal with something that companies never had to deal with in the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s, the early 2000s, where companies are forced to take a stance. You, like, for example, Lululemon, they're completely, and I'm wearing Lulu shorts right now. I love them. They're my favorite $80 pair of shorts that cost $3 to make in China that I've ever owned in my life. But my Nikes, like, I posted, hey, I bought these new Nike Super Reps. All of a sudden the conservatives are like, oh, I'll never wear Nike because whatever. So back in the day, you didn't really have to worry about a political stance. You came out with a good product and you sold it. And that was what was wonderful about it. Now, we had an issue where we wake up and I had no idea this was going on. I didn't know there was going to be a Blackout Tuesday. But I saw black squares and I immediately had no idea what it meant. I'm like, is Instagram glitching? And then my company kind of panics, our social media people, and they're like, what do we do? Because we have a very diverse staff. We have one girl who literally was marching with BLM at the beginning with Black Lives Matter, a white girl marching with BLM. So just put that in perspective. We have a lot of Trump people. We have a lot of liberals. We have a damn it, we don't hire based on, we don't like have one opinion set. So we had to have this conversation, and we decided as a company that, you know, I'm going to do the post where I'm going to, you know, I put something that was like, you know, uniting, a Martin Luther King quote. You know, we came on different boats, but we're on the same ship, I believe was the quote. And, you know, would I have posted it personally? You know what? I don't know. I posted last. One of my companies, Ambrosia, we're a minority owned company. You know, I have CT Fletcher, Mike Rashid, Sean Torbati, and myself. And so at one thing, you want to be unified as a company. So I posted on behalf of all my entities, but companies that didn't post, that just took a neutral stance or posted something that wasn't the black square, but was still kind of in that realm, they were basically outed and chastised for not posting it. So silence, you cannot be silent. You have to pick a side, or you have to pick a stance. And no matter what you do, you're going to offend somebody, whether it's the right or the left. Cancel culture exists on both sides. Look at NFL's ratings right now. I mean, they're down, 28%? Over the first week, and there's a lot of tangibles. There's less crowds, this and that.
People don't know what's going on because there's no preseason and things like that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. So when conservatives try to dunk on the NFL, it's like, well, you can't just look at one number. So I do find that my opinions are pretty well thought out, based on what I believe. Now, what do I believe? And I believe this is something that if you can't align with it, that's fine. Same reason I don't cancel Nike. If you don't align with my beliefs, please don't cancel me. But if you do, I understand. But silence, you just can't do it anymore. You can't just be an apolitical company. You have to have a stance because people want to see it. And I know you go through similar things. In fact, I wanted to say this because in 2016, when you were in your bodybuilding mode and you were posting a lot of topless, really provocative pictures, I remember you posted a picture in a MAGA hat and it went nuts.
Oh, yeah. That was probably 18, maybe, yeah.
18, it was whatever. And I remember seeing it and I'm like, this bastard's crazy. I'm like, this is very polarizing. And I remember the comments were very polarizing, but your stance on it was like, hey, we all have our opinions. We all have this, we all have that. We need to discuss it.
And also somebody voted for him. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I think it was Russians, but
mail-in Russian voting. But yeah, I think that, I think we need to embrace our differences. I think we need to discuss them in a very, in a caring, logical fashion. And I don't believe in cancel culture on either side. So while I do have my opinions, I do try to be a little less in your face, and I try to discuss things more. And, I've learned to just block and move on more than ever. But I do think these are discussions we should have, and it shouldn't just be one-sided.
Yeah, I think social media is assisting in giving us rocket fuel to fight, because if I start to have one preconceived notion from the time that I'm a kid that I believe a couple of things, or I believe a couple of things that were passed on to me from my family members or my dad or whatever, I go and click on that. Well, now that's in my search history, and now I'm being targeted. And it's like, okay, clicked on a Trump thing. Now you're going to get fed this. Now you're going to get fed that. You're going to get fed police officers on YouTube, talking about the police side of things. Rather than ever seeing the other side of things. And I think it creates a lot of tension, because you might say, well, I don't understand how people aren't seeing the other side. And we saw this in the Social Dilemma movie, where they talked about, well, the other side is not being shown to a lot of people because you're getting fed. You mentioned Twitter being an echo chamber.
Yeah.
But all of social media, that's really what it is. It's an echo chamber. It's your CNN, it's your Fox News, it's whatever they think that you want to digest, for the most part, is what they're trying to deliver to you. And it's very easy to retweet, told you so, told you so, told you so. It's very easy to do that and to kind of fall into that. And I think it's kind of turning us into like cybernetic organisms in a way. We're not putting maybe as much thought into things as we maybe should.
tons of tribalism. You know, people want to belong to a team. And you see that in a lot of things. You see that in religion. You see that in culture. You see that in nationalism, which I think is a good and bad thing. People want to belong. People want to feel superior. People want to feel like they're a part of a movement. They're a part of a group. And immediately, if you're not with them, you're against them. And that's a dangerous place to be mentally. Like, here's the story I tell is that, you know, I was pro-choice up until I was 39 years old. You know, my mom was you know, basically first generation American, you know, women's rights, fought in the military in the Israeli Defense Force, extremely women. I'm a woman, and she even changed her stance on it, by the way, long term.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because what happens in life is perspective. You change, and pro-choice made sense to me, and I still understand the argument for it. I don't by any means think less of someone, but my wife had 2 miscarriages. So what does that do? It changes your perspective. You know, it changes your perspective on life, on things, on what you're looking at. And then I realized, you know, in my opinion and in my interpretation of the science, that's not just a fetus, that's a baby. So I became pro-life. Now, am I out trying to kill doctors who abort babies? No, I'm not. But it changes, and you can change your view on a lot of things. How many people have you seen say, you know what, I used to be a Democrat, but you know, I don't like what they're doing now, so now I'm voting for Trump, or the vice versa. You know, I hate Trump, and I'm voting for, I don't care who the hell, even if they run a corpse, which they're basically doing. I mean, I don't care who they run against this guy, I'm voting. And I think that's a great thing. Is that when you can get out of your lane, when you can change lanes and you can actually look and see the other side. And that goes back to that kind of, you know, tunnel vision that you were talking about, when you're just shown one thing and you don't look, you don't read. Look, I am a capitalist. I love capitalism. I mean, meathead millionaire, you know, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, I've read books on, you know, the universal income. I've read books on socialism. I want to educate myself because maybe I'm not right. I don't have all the answers. None of us have all the answers. Bill Gates doesn't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers, and we got to keep learning. And what we have now is we have so much information that you almost have to choose what you want to learn. And then you just isolate yourself with your tribe.
But that's the tough part, because just like we were watching in that documentary, and even like I've even noticed it on my own feed, when you start looking up certain things, you're only fed that. Mm-hmm. And then you start to think, oh, wow, I'm actually really correct. And then all the friends that you have around, you're also thinking the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really difficult to actually try to seek out what the other side is thinking, because you're already thinking the other side is the enemy. It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if a lot of people even know what it is the side they're on represents. You know, my favorite is, and this has been going on since I was a kid, the man on the street interviews. And they go and they're like, wait, who's the vice president? I think it was 80% of people. This is when Obama was in office, but I believe I saw a statistic. 80% of people didn't know Biden was the vice president. They couldn't name who the vice president was. This is back in before now. Like, really? You don't know the number 2 dude or chick in your country? You don't know this? Like the number 2, like if the first guy dies, which they're all like 80 years old, there's a big chance, like based on just human life expectancy, Biden and Trump are going to die before the election. Like these guys are old. Can't we have anybody under the age of 90 run for office? Like how old is Nancy Pelosi? She's right down the road. Like, dude, isn't it crazy that Biden, like we're not young. We're a real man. We're 40, right?
I'm 40.
I'm a real man. That's my favorite. But have you thought of like Biden's been in office since before we were born. And in our industry, we're considered fossils. Right. I mean, dude, that is old. That's super old. Like, would you go to a nursing home and be like, hey, bro, want to run the country? And they're like, yeah, okay, let's get that guy. Like, that doesn't even know where he is.
Well, and when do people start getting dementia? 65.
Yeah.
So let's have a president that's 75. Like, I don't think, I mean, your memory, you know, if you're not taking care of yourself, is going to go. And most of the presidents that we've had don't appear to be super healthy. I guess except for Obama.
Have you thought of sending me this?
Yeah, send some mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean that would help. I mean,
do you feel it yet? By the way,
I'm feeling good, but I mean I'm definitely awake. It could be the 500 milligrams of caffeine combined with this, but I mean we got about
another 5-10 minutes before it really takes over your body, and you turn into an internet troll.
Then we have some of that bodybuilding porn, the bodybuilding orgies coming back. But you know, my whole thing is. And here's my problem with politics, is politicians are dumb, but they found a way to make a lot of money doing nothing. The talented people, your Elon Musks, your Mark Bells, they're out in the private sector doing epic stuff, right? They're creating things.
This is exactly, we had the chief of police of Sacramento. This is exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He said exactly what you're saying. He's like, we're doing all the work, you know, he's like, my guys are doing the heavy lifting and the politicians get to kind of sit back and kind of say whatever they want. And they're not on the front lines every day.
Now, why? And another thing, like you look how much money they made. The senator from I think it was 1942 when Biden came in office as a senator or whatever, like he's been in government for 46 years or some crazy number, 42, whatever it is. It's old. Like it's a long time. And they make an average of what? I'd say between that time and now, probably his average, probably $180,000 a year. He's worth tens of millions of dollars. Like, think about all the kickbacks and the takes. His son's got a job with friggin' a country doing something. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then he literally openly like threatened the country to pull funding. And then there's a lot of shady stuff going on. And that's the one thing, if there's one redeeming thing about Trump, and I'm not a Trump guy. I'm a, oh my God, look at the other guy, Trump guy. You know, I'm like, if you gave me a good option, I'd be the first one to pull the lever for someone else. But the one thing about Trump is he was already rich. Like a lot of these guys become rich in politics. Trump lost money. He moved down like 9 places on the, Forbes 500. Like he lost a tremendous, like stupid money. Like the money we were talking about, what we would do for that money, he lost that. You guys, that conversation does not belong on this podcast. I don't think that's beyond bodybuilding orgies. But what would you guys do for $100 million? because there is some really, really awesome. I'd do it right here. It doesn't $100 million. Like I'll do it for like 5. Like $100 million. Man, I'll do some really, really crazy stuff. I'll even record it.
You never know. Might be for $20.
$20.
You always want to negotiate the price, right?
Yeah, if you're starting at 20, I started at 100 million. Where do we end up?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but you know, my whole thing is I love my country. You know, my mom, you know, came here from Poland. She was born in Poland, raised in Israel. We're first generation American, didn't come from money. You know, grandfather is an escapee from Auschwitz in World War II. So I know the dangers of socialism and communism and just tyranny. And that's why I'm so pro Second Amendment. That's why I'm so pro rights. That's why things like police states scare me, because I lost my entire family due to that mindset. And that's why I look at the masks and the lack of science and people are like, oh, just put it on. I'm like, no. Just get in the bus, you know, and that's a huge, how are you going to align that? No, it's the same mindset. If you have no evidence to show that masks work or an overwhelming amount of evidence to show the contrary, and you're telling me to do it just because the government says to do it and there's no evidence to do it.
You got to do it because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah. But what about, the country's messed up because the Jews. And then people bought it. Mm-hmm. The same thinking that got all of my 6 million Jews killed. Okay, the same thinking is what we're doing here. And what scares me is that America is just sitting by and doing nothing about it. And if you speak up about it, you want to kill grandma. I just want to see evidence. They've had since February to do a controlled study on masks and COVID, and not one controlled study. They point to these masks, the correlation data, right? They point to these, why is it kind of escaping my mind what they're called, but meta-analysis. Right. They point to these meta-analyses. That's opinion. Meta-analysis is taking existing data on related things and giving an opinion on it. I don't want opinion. I want some hard facts. And the fact of the matter is...
They have zero information as it pertains to COVID-19, especially.
And they have influenza. And influenza shows, without a shadow of a doubt, that cloth masks do nothing. They actually might hurt you because it hurts your immunity, and it just does a lot of things. The moisture buildup, right, and you're breathing in your own things, and also viruses do virus stuff. And if you look at the curve in LA when they mandated masks, that's when they had their spike.
What have masks helped us get through in our history?
Well, Bane saw what he did to Batman.
Right. It's helped us with absolutely nothing, is the point. And I think that people think that we can... I think, you know, our governor, Governor Newsom, I think thinks that he can somehow have control over this, and I think that's a problem. You can't have any control really over a virus. There's really not much you could do. I would say that if you were to lock down and not allow anyone to move at all, then maybe, but it's probably going to still be in circulation because somebody's going to break the rules somewhere, and it's still going to be floating around. So as soon as you lift a lockdown, people are going to start to get it again. The only way to get it is to actually get it. The only way to go through it is to get it.
It's all you're doing with lockdowns is delaying the inevitable, and that's herd immunity. And the reason the death numbers are so high, if you believe the death numbers, being that we're incentivizing hospitals to label everything as COVID death, is because we forced old people, the most at-risk population, into nursing homes in Democrat states. So you don't see like Tennessee didn't have that problem. Georgia didn't have that problem. We got it moved on. We're doing very well in Tennessee. Our economy is booming because everybody from New York and LA are moving there, and hopefully they don't vote for the idiots they voted for here. And I'm not saying that voting red is the way. I hate Republicans equally, but right now they're the ones who've done less stupid stuff. And libertarianism's dead. There's no third party. We're a two-party country. Get over it. Don't vote for whoever that Jo Jorgensen. She's stupid too. The Libertarian Party's dead. We need to just scrap it. I used to be I was reading back, Facebook does the memories on this day. I was reading back about in 2016. I'm like, I'm voting for Gary Johnson, libertarian. And then he did the whole, what's Aleppo? And I'm like, this guy's a friggin' idiot.
Wait, pause. You got to explain that.
Okay. So at the time in 2016, if you guys weren't following it, we had some stuff going on in Syria, and Aleppo, basically kids were getting blown up. It was like this, it was on every front page. Mm-hmm. And then someone asked Gary Johnson, who was the libertarian candidate versus Trump and Hillary, so what's your thoughts on Aleppo? And he goes, well, what's Aleppo? I'm like, do you even Google? Like, what's wrong with this guy? And so there's no third party. So basically, you might as well not vote if you're voting libertarian. It is what it is. So you got to pick a dog in the race. You got to go with it, And that's where we're at now, is we're in a two-party system, and we're not changing it this election.
So you mentioned some inability to not voice your opinion, but that's exactly what we're doing here. And I would have to disagree with you a little bit in terms of not being able to voice your opinion. I think you can in the long run.
Yes.
I think people are very reactionary right away. Mm-hmm. And so you'll see the inflammatory comments, you'll see the people unfollow, but then you'll get a population of people that start to follow you, right, that are new and that believe in some of those things. And so I think you can say some stuff. I think the idea that you can't say some stuff is maybe is probably true when it comes to finances. If The Rock made a particular statement, like how'd The Rock and his whole family get COVID-19? I mean, how did they end up getting it? I mean, you can speculate that he wasn't wearing a mask, or he didn't practice social distancing, or whatever, or he's working through it probably, just like a lot of us are. And he can't really come out and say, hey, like, I had it and it wasn't that big of a deal. He just is not in a position to do that if he doesn't want a ton of backlash from it. But if he wanted to actually voice his opinion, he could. He would lose a lot at first, but I think he would be fine later on. That's kind of my opinion on some of that.
I think, I was pretty apolitical. I mean, I was outspoken. I said what I thought, but I never really put it out there. I don't know if you follow him. His name is Mike Cernovic on Twitter. He's he did the Hoax movie, and he's the one who sued for the Epstein files. He's a really good dude. He actually lives out in Orange County, and we become friends. Bless you. We become friends over the years, and he's like, dude, she's like, just honestly, Twitter, just use it. I think it could help you because people want to hear what you hear. But here's what I've gotten. If you stand for something, you get true engagement. Like, you get true people who actually will listen to you, and you're more than just a tangible product. You're something that you align with people. And I think it's almost good to choose sides. A lot of people, and I hate to turn this into a capitalism thing, a lot of people have made a lot of money being political pundits, being on Twitter. Like, look at the Hodge twins now. They went from being, we were talking about this morning, dude, like, they've always been conservative. Like, I told you a story this morning, like, we're driving they used to live in Virginia, right up the road from me in North Carolina when I lived there. And I remember out of nowhere, Kevin we're sitting in the car, I'm driving. He goes into an anti-abortion rant. At that time, I was pro-choice. I'm like, and I don't want to sound weird, but like, you don't expect a fitness channel with two black twins to be going on a conservative rant.
No, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, they're not faking it, but think about what they're doing now. Their following is huge. They're doing comedy shows. They're selling more merch than you can count. Like, they're living their dream right now. And somehow they haven't aged, and I have. Like, is that a black thing? Do I not
Yes,
understand?
it is.
Yeah,
I think we've established
that's
that.
not even fair.
Kind of is, yeah.
That's privilege right there, man.
It's crazy. They look good.
They look good. Dude, I'd hit it.
Why you gotta always take it there, Mark?
But no, I mean, if I was gay, I mean,
Yeah, no, true.
yeah, but anyway, no. But I mean, you know,
It's the eyes.
Yeah,
It's their eyes.
they do have
They
pretty
have
eyes.
beautiful eyes.
But they're some like they're really good friends. Like I've known them since but we came out, you know, on YouTube back in the day. Like there was there was groups that came in at the beginning. It was Louis Marco, Scooby, and the Twins. And then I came in, and then after that, there was Chris Jones. You started blowing up on the scene. CT came in, took it to the next level. People don't understand, like CT with that Strength Project thing, like after that, fitness YouTube kind of fell on its own because the Twins were the biggest thing. And I remember the Twins talking about it, like, dude, CT, he's the future of YouTube. I remember them saying that straight up at Gold's Gym in Virginia. I remember him, you know, Keith is like, man, that CT, he's going to be the biggest thing on YouTube.
I had YouTube since 2007. I was pumping out a good amount of content on there, and 2010 rolled around, and I was like, fuck this. I'm like, I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years, and no one cares. So I'm like, I'm just going to post a video here and there every once in a while. And that's right when it started to explode, right when it started to swing back up.
Yeah, it was good timing. I mean, for us, I hated YouTube. I still kind of, I'm not really a public guy. I like people, but my first inclination, and I really suffer on social media, is when I'm having a good time, I'm like, hey, I'm having a good time. I live in the moment, you know, and it's sometimes my wife will be like, you should probably get this. Like the kids are doing some epic shit right here. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. I said the S word. I'm trying not to. Trying to stop. Bleep that out. Okay. So,
Too late.
but it's one of those things where YouTube, for me, my partner, who's not a social, he's a business guy, Chad, at Tiger Fitness, MTS. We're partners in basically everything, you know? So he's like, dude, you got to get on YouTube. And I'm like, why? He's like, because Google owns it. Like it's Google with video. I'm like, man, YouTube's stupid. I don't want to do that. And he's like, just do a video. So I did a video on Oxy Elite Pro. And it was literally filmed on a potato. Like it had like a resolution of, like it was literally like a flip phone video. And next thing you know, it had like 80,000 views. It was so easy to get views back in the day. Like I put like a set of curls and get 80,000 views in the first 2 hours because there's no competition. And it's different now.
I'd like to hear everyone's opinion on this. This is something I've been thinking about lately. So people kind of say that today's youth, you know, are a bunch of snowflakes, and that people can't handle the truth, and that, you know, there's kind of these common things you hear people continuing to say, and it's usually from people that are like our age.
Yeah.
But we got a guy in here that's 20. We got 2 guys in their 40s. We got someone in their 30s, and you guys can play along with this game at home. But I think that this could have happened in any era. I think it's a social media thing. I think that social media has connected us all together, and you end up, if you're in New Jersey, you end up reacting immediately to something that happened in California, or if something happened in California, you react immediately to it. In Canada or in Europe or wherever, and we're connected in that way. And then on top of that, like social media has always had us connected, but COVID-19 did something like way different than anything we've ever experienced before. Then with a lens kind of zoomed in on everything, we had the George Floyd thing happen. And I think that things just really started to explode on top of each other more so than ever. But when you look at our history, I mean, there's been times in our, in just American history alone, where there's kind of always been some crazy shit going on. There's always been turmoil. There's always been suffering. There's always been quote unquote hard times. There's, you had the Great Depression. We had things like the space race. There's always like a bunch of different things going on. Even, I know those things didn't happen at the same time, but imagine if JFK's in office right now and we had social media and he got blasted. And then it, turns out that he slept with Marilyn Monroe, and it's like all these other crazy things, right? That you start to hear, like, because nowadays it's hard to have that stuff be private.
Yeah,
it's hard to contain all that stuff. So, what do you guys think in terms of? Do you think this could have kind of happened in any era? Do you think it's true or even fair to say that today's people kind of can't handle the truth and that they're snowflakes?
You want to take this? I have my opinions, but I want to hear yours.
I agree with that in a sense. And it is actually a big reason. Social media is a big reason for it. An example of this is a friend of mine sent me a post that I think was on World Star Hip Hop that's gone viral. And the comments are all like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is racist, blah, blah, blah. You guys ever heard of Caster Semenya?
No.
Caster Semenya is this track athlete. She competes.
Oh, yes. I've never heard the name. I've only seen it written. Okay, got it.
She's jacked, right?
Oh, tremendously.
And the post on World Star, and which has also been posted on the Shade Room and a bunch of places, has millions of likes at this point, talks about how the racist organizations are trying to not let Caster compete against women because of whatever. And they want Caster to take testosterone blocking, supplements because she produces so much.
Shit.
Now, the post, this is a rough one because the post paints Caster as this is an absolute woman. Caster has an XY chromosome. Caster produces a lot of testosterone because of that. She's intersex, right? It's a very different situation. And I can understand biological women being pissed that this individual that was born intersex, that has an XY chromosome, that produces an insane amount of testosterone, is kicking their ass in every single race. It's not because she's black. If there is a white woman that had this same thing, it's a weird situation for an organization to deal with because she's whooping everyone, right? But that, because of the way the post was voiced, right? Everyone now thinks it's because Caster is a black woman, it's a racist thing, etc. And the knee-jerk reaction that everyone's taking is, they're racist. And everyone goes on with it until you do a quick Google search on Caster, find out like the specifics of what's going on. And then you're like, okay, maybe this isn't so racist. And maybe this is actually a weird situation. But that's kind of what happens right now. On social media, you see a post, you don't look more up on it, or most people don't look up more, and they just believe what they're seeing and they share it with all their friends and they share it with all their friends. Everyone has a knee-jerk reaction to everything, and they respond to everything with what you see at the moment. So I think it's how social's affecting us. It's affecting how we look at things, and that's just a situation that kind of shows that.
You're absolutely correct. There's a couple paths we go down. For one is it's all about money. It's not about if CNN's left or right leaning. They're trying to, back in the day. Now remember, I started at Weeder. I was in advertising. It's all about clicks. You put headlines out to get clicks. So it's more clicky when something's racist or somebody did something really wrong than, hey, Trump said something ambiguously, whatever. It has to be like Trump says that all black people are evil. When, and that's, there's a lot of headlines that grab people in because they need that ad revenue. At the end of the day, it comes down to capitalism. Everybody's saying CNN socialists. No, they're capitalist as hell. They are. Now, to get back to Mark's point, as far as would this happen, dude, you got to realize in 1862, and I always use this, James K. Polk just took over Mexico because he wanted to. He was an imperialist. He wanted to get more land. You have to realize that George Washington, as president, marched troops into battle without tweeting or taking selfies while doing it. Presidents used to have duels. We had one president who was shot in a bar fight with a senator. Okay, he shot the senator. Oh, it's all happened. Dude, things are crazy. The difference is, before we had social media, we had local news. Local news didn't report what happened in New Jersey. We saw what happened in Sacramento or wherever you're living at the time. What we have now is proliferation, so it looks like there's a lot going on. For example, did you guys know that yesterday there was a rally and a counter protest for Trump 10 minutes up the road? I didn't know it was here.
I actually didn't know that.
I didn't know it. and I saw it on Twitter. It's 5 minutes up the road. And a CHP officer, literally a protester, jumped on the car. And he just drove and
I saw, you tweeted it. Yeah, and everyone screamed when the guy fell on the ground.
Well, don't jump on cop cars.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a good idea.
And it was a white guy who jumped off the cop car. So, the guy's just stupid. You don't jump on cop cars. But anyway, what I'm getting at is social media proliferates. It makes everything in your backyard. It makes everything local. Yeah. Dude, the world's been crazy. In fact, I would say right now, we're in the most civilized and rational and Renaissance periods in the history of the world. We can look up information on our thumbs. We can literally go to a store and buy anything. If you don't want to go to the store, it gets delivered to your house. We have 350 million people. We have microaggressions in large cities. This is not the apocalypse. This is not the disassembly, and this is not the end of America. All this is how it always was. except with with information that spreads easier. There's nothing immoral. We're not turning into Satan. The devil's not taking over. Dude, people are still good. I know you guys get around. You've been to trade shows. I've shooken hands. I've met thousands and thousands of people of every nationality. I've been to other countries. People are good. You see the vocal minority. When I say minority, I'm talking less than 0.5%. These protests, these riots, it's 100 people. Mm-hmm. Okay, I was at a soccer tournament for my son in Alabama a week and a half ago, right? Check it out. I was talking to their dad, and I'm like, if we took all the parents here, we'd have literally triple the people of one of these riots. It's a small group. 50 people in a ball, if we were to spread them out, doesn't look like anything. There are more people in Walmart last night. We could have taken over the city. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is, the world is not ending. People need to get off that. It's all sensationalization. We're just reading about it. It hits us. And again, we're in Sacramento. My wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
"Wait, really?"
Yeah. Man, my wife's in the Brentwood bubble, man. She doesn't know what's going on. Man, she's just sitting back on her hill, walking her golden doodle.
Oh, those are great dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great dogs. They don't shed. But but I mean, dude, my wife, she doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. But so that's where I'm getting at. Is that
non-allergenic dog that doesn't shed. That's the kind of world that we're in. You know what I mean?
And they're cute. That's my privilege. Yeah, in the contract, it's like every white person gets a golden doodle. That's
Yeah, this makes me feel hella bad because I wanted a golden doodle.
Simeon has one, Simeon Panda.
And it's kind of making me mad. Everybody's getting a golden doodle.
You got to get one. I think you've made it in life if you get because they're expensive. They're like 3 G's.
I know.
I'm like, dude, I'm spending 3 cans.
Want to gift me a golden doodle?
Sure.
Yes. I think that's a good idea.
Get it on there.
But I think,
as long as it has its own Instagram.
Yes.
But I honestly, I think all of us we're very optimistic people. Like, we're all successful. I think it comes down to mindset. I see the best in people. I see the good in people. I love my country. I love my fellow citizens.
We'll just put it out here right now. You bring back a championship, you got yourself a golden doodle.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
All right.
That's sick.
Hey, I'll chip in on that. I'd like to chip in on that. I'd like to have my name on that card.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Dope. Mm-hmm. Dope.
That's cool.
The name of the dog will be Marc Smelly Lobliner. Mark with a K.
Yeah, it'll be a nice that'll be a good looking dog.
It will be.
But I think we're all very positive people. And I love people.
It's gotta be a championship belt though. We need a belt. We need a championship belt.
Yeah, belt.
That we hang up right here, right? It's gotta be a belt.
Yeah, if you don't have a belt, it really doesn't count.
Yeah, not a black belt. No, we don't care about the color. We need a championship belt.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah,
I'm with it. I think the golden doodle is the perfect. You're gonna love that dog.
I know.
They're so smart.
They are.
Everybody here should buy a golden doodle. Just but not too many because I don't want you like
tigerfitness.com.
We'll start breeding dogs now.
Andrew, what you got on this topic, buddy?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I know we have like the fear mongering, right? We got to scare people into clicking because we need ad revenue. But my thought was like, well, shit, if I get the newspaper once a week and I hear in New York and I'm in California, like people are dying left and right, like, holy shit, what am I going to do? And I remember being a kid thinking like, am I the only one that thinks this way? But with social media now, you can watch podcasts like this, like, oh shit, Marc Lobliner thinks exactly the way I do. I'm not crazy, or maybe I am. But at least now I know when I'm speaking to somebody and I'm saying like, dude, I think this mask thing's bullshit. You're no longer outed as the crazy person because you can say like, look, I'm not the only one that thinks this way. So I'm kind of thinking of the more of the positive side of which, it helps you kind of find your, I guess your group of people that you can kind of connect with and you have the same thought process. Because without that, you'd just be outed and be like, dude, that guy's crazy. Like, don't listen to him. But now it's like, okay, shit. All right. Actually, there is a big, demographic of people that think this way. Maybe I can look into it and figure out whether or not he is full of shit, or maybe there's something to that. If this many people are talking about it, if Marc's having this many people on the podcast saying that the plandemic or the case-demic was all like, kind of bullshit, why are all these people saying this? okay, I need to look into it now. Now I know a lot of people aren't really interested in looking into it. They just want to be fed information, but still, at least it kind of gives other people, just like an idea to at least look something up on their own, on themselves. And they can, I know social media is kind of like dog shit sometimes, but at least it will give them an outlet or some form of just a different way of bringing in more information.
I think, we have a tendency to talk about the younger generation, in between, I guess, like 18 and 30. Mm-hmm. And we have a tendency to always blame that generation, no matter what decade we're in. We're always like, these young people, Yeah,
music today sucks.
Yeah, they're causing all these problems and all these different things, right?
Yeah.
And we see it happen time and time again. But I know from my own experience, and maybe you can share yours as well, but my grandfather at the age of 20, he built his own house, like with his friend, him and his buddy, like they built their own home, and he had 2 or 3 kids already. By the time it was all said and done, he had like 9 kids. I don't know anything about building anything. He built his own car. My dad, when he was 24, 25, my dad went to college, and immediately after college, my mom and him had their first son, and they bought a home. Like I didn't even have any money to figure out how to buy a home till I was like 35. Yeah. So I think we are moving ahead from a technological standpoint, and I didn't have to pick up a hammer, probably because my grandfather did. Yeah. But what's your experience? Because I think what we do see from today's youth is maybe just a lack of experience, because they're maybe not getting into as many jobs and as many things, and maybe they're more on their phone and more into technology and more into some things that we're not used to, and things that are just maybe a little different than what we grew up with.
I mean, you're seeing an evolution of society through technology. Video killed the radio star, right? It's like, at the end of the day, I think the kids these days between 18 and 30, and I don't know the age demographic of who you have working at this beautiful facility, but, as someone who employs dozens of people, a lot of them are between 18 and 30. I'll tell you what, man, I'll take Seth in my warehouse. I'll take him to battle any day of the week. Tyler, the guy came from Skyline Chili. He was a manager, and he's a rock star, and then I've had older people that I've had to let go because they don't have that work ethic. I think it depends on upbringing. I think it's the same as any generation. In the 60s, they were rolling in their own poop at Woodstock during a pandemic, by the way, without any masks on. Now, I've done the pandemic thing, but I've never rolled around in poop. Yeah. But the night's still young. So what I'm saying is the younger generation, they're learning. Just like it took me 39 years to figure out that I'm pro-life. Every day of your life. By the way, this stuff's freaking awesome. I'm ready to recite some War and Peace and read some poems and stuff.
We'll have to sell it on Tiger Fitness.
We should. You know what? I'll pick it up today.
We'll pair it up.
Yep. 80% off. Got it. Thanks for the discount. That's how you do. That's never
whatever you want, man. You went to school for marketing. I didn't.
Never do business with a Jew, bro. I'm telling you. But anyway.
All right.
He is one.
So we'll have to let go of Smokey.
That's how you counter it. You fire yours back at theirs.
Yeah, it's the Illuminati, bro. We own Hollywood too.
That's right.
Next post, Marc Lobliner is anti-Semitic.
I'm an anti-Semitic. Well, I've been called a Nazi before, which is the most ironic thing. That's like when they called they used to play football, Burgess Owens or whatever his name is. They called him a white supremacist, even though he's a black congressman. I'm like, did you think this one through?
I wonder Clayton Bigsby.
I wonder what haven't you been called?
Oh God. Well, I mean, you can make fun of my arms.
Troll on you pretty good.
And they should. I have a lot of things to troll about. I would too. It doesn't affect me any. It did in the beginning, but what I'm getting at is it comes down to every generation comes down to parenting. It comes down to learning yourself. Some kids take longer to learn themselves. Some take longer to get out. Even when I went to school, we had some 26-year-old sophomores, in college. At the end of the day, my kids are on their path. My neighbors' kids are on their path. One thing I've seen is across all races, socioeconomic, whatever it is, what I've found is that when a household, and whether it's single parent or dual parent, when a household has an influence of a strong woman and a strong man, it usually leads to a strong person. And that is not a shot at anybody. That's just it's statistically backed, and I think if kids are raised with love and also, some boundaries, they're destined to have success. And obviously my kids are still developing. I'm hoping they turn out really well. So far, so good. And that's what it comes down to. Whatever age you are listening to this, you have kids. I speak to men because I'm a man, and women are much more maternal, much more caring, at least than me. I'm really crappy at that. But you know what? At the end of the day, if parents love their kids, they show them attention, and it doesn't matter if you have $5 or $5 million. Love is priceless. Love is something you can't put a cost on. And if you show the kids the example, if you live your life exemplary, and if you teach your kids morals, ethics, and values, and you teach them the value of hard work, and they see you working hard, and that's where you can't blame the 18 to 30 generation, because they're just a mirror image of that generation before them. They're a mirror image of us and the people who came before us, the Gen X, the Gen Y, and the millennials. That's who those kids are. So it's up to the generation prior to give them those. So you can never say, oh, these kids. Well, who gave them those? You're a mirror of your parents.
These kids are on their phone all the time. Hold on, I got to make one more post.
I see it again. It's like the kids are on the phone because they see their parents on the phone.
Right.
I see it at soccer practice. I see it at soccer
but
games.
I'm doing it for work.
Yeah.
I'm emailing somebody.
Yeah,
it's different. I'm not looking at SpongeBob.
When I'm the only time I have my phone during a soccer game is when I'm filming. Because I want to see my kids do epic stuff. The only time, and I suck at tutoring. My wife does too, but we do our best. And I mean, as parents, again, it comes down societally. If we can fix the family unit, and that was my big falling out. I don't know, but that was the one thing that when I saw the Black Lives Matter site, I'm like, this isn't for me. Is they don't like the nuclear family.
Yeah, they don't.
And I am a huge fan of the nuclear family. I'm a huge fan, and a lot of marriages fall apart, and my wife and I have had our problems. We've been separated, but we stayed together because we believe so much in the nuclear family. We fixed it, went to counseling, So, I speak from experience. It's about the family unit. I'm not saying you can't have a phenomenal kid come from a single parent household. It's just harder. It is, statistically speaking. Not like masks. Actually have data to back me up on this. Statistically speaking, it's harder. So that's my rant on that.
Well, and also I think what we mentioned yesterday, when I asked you about your background, I immediately thought to myself, like, that's pretty badass that he was able to kind of make it through that stuff. But then the next question I asked you was, did you have love? And you're like, yeah, I had plenty of it.
Oh yeah. You know what? Sometimes life.
And then it all made sense. It's like, okay, well, fuck, man. As long as you got that's the main ingredient that we need.
You know what? And also, you look back and you realize that we talked about this, and it's hard for me to talk about because I cry really easy. So if I cry, it's because of this. This makes you cry. At the end of the day, my parents were good people who just life didn't work well for them. Drug addiction is a disease. And my mother's drug addiction was caused by multiple compounding issues. Was caused by injury while in the military, was caused by injury in a car accident, and caused by PTSD. And that's what led her. And also doctors just prescribing these narcotics, these opiates to cure that pain instead of addressing it.
More pain than most people and wasn't sure how to cope with it.
This is a woman who came to this country with nothing. This is a woman who went back to serve in the military in her home country. This is a woman who put herself through most of college, didn't finish, but then started a business and employed dozens of people at a local cookie store in Simi Valley, California, called the Gookie Cookie Company. Right now, she'd be canceled for the name Gookie. But I mean, this is
Got it.
You got it.
Got it.
Yeah,
All
you take off the IE. It's not a good word. But at the time, it was perfectly good. But I mean, at the end of the day, my mom's a good person. And she did the best she could. And my father, again, type 2 diabetes, he became sick. These are two loving people. And at the time, I just hated them, because I was wondering why my life was so bad, and everybody else seems to be killing it. And I'm over here, pulling knives out of my mom's hand and, worried about suicide, worried about my own safety. And now I look back and I'm like, you know what? Perspective is everything. And sometimes people just can't handle what life throws at them. And we've both lost people close to us due to addiction. And it's one of those things where my father, great man. So I wouldn't trade my upbringing for anything because it gives me perspective and it made me who I am. My goal is to give my kids that same kind of love and affection without the side effects of what my parents gave to me. And that should be every parent's goal, is to make your child's life, make their success, make their future better than yours. And that's where I wouldn't, you can't change your past. You can't change what happened I can't change the fact that my grandfather was in Auschwitz. I can't change the fact that my mom was a drug addict. But there's a book out there called Choice Theory. I don't know if you've read it. I believe it's Robert Glassner.
I've heard of it before. Yeah.
Great book. Everyone should read Choice Theory, at least get the audiobook. Choice Theory. Glassner, I believe, is the author. And it's basically one of those where you can't change the past. You have to just move on. You make that choice. There's schools that have been founded in choice theory, and I live my life by choice theory because I can't change the mistakes I made when I was 18. I can't change something I said when I was 15, but I can repent for it, and there it is. Is it Glassner? Did I get it right? Yes.
Yeah. It's a really powerful thing to know and to understand. Like, this is what happened. This is what I did. This is the way I acted.
Yeah.
And now what are you going to do to work on it moving forward?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I've done in the past where, I don't regret anything I've done because it's led to who I am. And that's why I'm like, these guys are like, oh, you regret that? No, because you wouldn't be the person you are if you didn't do that stupid stuff back in the day. I didn't do as much stupid stuff as a lot of people because I was broke. I didn't drink in college. I couldn't afford it, So it's like, for me, that was a blessing. I got school done really fast. I started my career at Weeder at 19 years old. So I was fortunate to have to move out and figure the hell out what I'm going to do with my life. And my kids, like they want a scholarship for say, they really want, my daughter wants to go to the Olympics. There's more of a chance of us being hit by a COVID lightning bolt. It's like crazy, but I'm not going to hold her back on that, right? They don't have to do anything. They do it because they're driven and they want to, and they have great work ethic. And I think that's because, we have stuff like, right? Like we could probably liquidate and probably retire. I know if I just sold my stuff, I don't have to work again, but I don't think we've finished. I don't think I've instilled enough of those values in my kids. And honestly, I'm indebted to my employees because they bust their ass, and I am not going to shortchange them on this. So
and to yourself,
yeah,
to continue to prove, like, you're just, to me, it's always like just proving yourself, to yourself, and not really too worried about how I compare or match up to you or Microsheet or whoever. Just continue to work on myself, and I'm just going to see where I can end up.
I'm going to correct you there. None of us will ever compare to Microsheet. He's the coolest guy I know. Like, seriously, everything you were talking yesterday, everything he does is smooth.
It really is.
He farts smooth. Like, man, that was a smooth fart, man. Your fart. That was the most
Actually, Mike, that smelled pretty good, too. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. So it was pretty nice.
He's got to be like, just changing time. Like, Microsheet is, if you guys don't know Mike, he's phenomenal. He's one of my business partners. And, but Mike is just the coolest man I've ever known in my life. Like, if I was, like, and he looks cool. Like, he has the look, he has and he can fight. So you can't even talk trash about him.
Yeah, he also looks like there's absolutely no reason to mess with that guy. Maybe don't even joke around too much with him, which he has a great sense of humor. But if you don't know him, you're like, I don't know. I don't want to test the waters.
We were both
Remember,
actually
Kenny KO.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kenny KO was like, that's the one guy that I messed up with. He's like, I talk shit on everybody. He's like, I messed up with
Funny thing is, I could tell that story, but Mike's he's a great guy. He's just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But, with the Kenny KO thing, it was funny because Kenny came up, he was at our Ambrosia booth, right? And I'm standing there talking to Kenny, and Mike called him out while he's talking to me. I felt bad because Kenny came to talk to me, and I thought Kenny was going to die. So when we were both, I was boxing, Mike was really boxing, I was boxing, right?
Yeah.
So we're both in Australia, touring Australia, and we both had our gloves. He's like, hey man, if you want, we can spar a little. I'm like, no. He's like, no, go easy. I'm like, no, you won't. I'm like, and I saw him hit a heavy bag once. I swear to God, I heard it cry. Like, in the bag, like, he's like, it's so quick and he's so powerful. I'm like, okay, this is like, he's just the guy. Like, I'm just glad he's on my team.
Has he been boxing since he was a kid, or was
since he was like 11 years old, and he has like hundreds of fights when he was a kid. And like, I see he had video. He never posted it. Like, on his phone, we're flying back from Australia. He's like, bro, I'm like, do you have any old videos? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you were even cool when you were 11. Like, you were beating people up, and like, again,
like, train like with like Mayweather's team or something, right? Or something like that. Or he had some really good coach or something. I can't remember. But
he's had, because I was there when he did his camp for his last pro fight that lasted 51 seconds. And that dude literally got hit once, and it didn't even knock him out. I think he's just like, nah, I'm out. I don't want to get hit again. But yeah, he's awkward too. He fights offline, and it's the craziest thing. But yeah, there's certain things you can't be, and that's as cool as Microsheet. Except CT. CT is the coolest man ever lived.
That is true.
He is.
Yeah, he's got it. Well, maybe Mike could get there because.
Oh yeah,
maybe he's older.
20 years. In 20 years, Mike will be a more aggressive CT.
But I took you off the Kenny KO track you were mentioning at the.
Yeah, and I'm like, and Mike Sees him, and Mike's like, hey, you get out of here. I'm like, Kenny, I love you, man, but you should probably go like really fast. But Mike is again, but he's a man of honor, like the whole Buen Dia thing, and I don't want to bring. He doesn't like when I bring it up, but that was an honor thing, and you don't find people who are openly male like that. He's unapologetically masculine, and that's good.
Yes,
we need masculinity. There's no toxic masculinity is making fun of someone because there's something that's toxic. But being manly and paying your bills and standing up for honor, that's a good thing, and we need more of that. We need more masculinity in this world. We don't. That's what's happening. Have you seen these Antifa people? Definitely not masculine. Have you seen them try and fight? like, dude, I'm like, that's what happens when you don't have male role models.
Yeah,
is you get Antifa. Like, and have you seen their mugshots? What are these humans? Like, so I'm like, that's why you need strong males in the world. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do when you were younger to kind of keep a positive mindset? Your mom's on drugs. How old was your dad or how old were you when your dad passed away?
He passed when I was in my 20s, early 20s, but he was really sick. 16 is when it really went downhill, but he used to travel. So a lot of it was just my mom. I raised myself for a lot of my life because my mom was in and out of rehab and mental institutions. So like my weekends were spent in the mental hospital. I'd go visit my mom and, talk to crazy people and learn where I didn't want to go. Honestly, I had terrible anger issues. I got in bad street problems. I hung out with the wrong group, committed crimes. Lucky for me, and this is so I knew it was when I was 13 and my dad was on the road, and I remember I knew that I wasn't going to get into school. Because due to my brain, I just couldn't at that time. And this is
like you weren't going to move forward to college?
Here's why.
Something like that.
And I'm going to tell you my rationale at the time. This is not by any means bringing up anything political. At the time, the UC system, which is what, they weren't accepting any whites or Asians because of affirmative action at the time. So that's my rationale. I'm like, I got to get good at a sport. So that I was playing baseball. I was the ninth man. I was the expendable one. I didn't have the gift. I didn't have that skill, and these kids were better than me. So that's when I went all into football, and I was coming off, sitting the bench as a sophomore on the JV team. And the coach said to me, he said, Lobliner, you're not going to play a lick if you don't lift. At that time I was 170, whatever. I sucked. I was piss poor. And, there was a coach there. His name was Coach Miles, Coach Cornell Miles. And he was a minister, just great guy. And Leon Hatton, outside linebacker. He was supposed to do good the next year. He was going to be a senior. I was going to be a junior. And I'm like, after like our team training session, they used to train afterwards on their own. I'm like, I want to train with you guys. And here's two, like Leon's like 6'1", 220, and Coach Miles is 6'4", 300 pounds, just a big dude, repping 405 on bench like it's 135, like one of those dudes, right? Just that guy, right? Like, and I walk up, and here's this little white kid, 5'7", 170. I'm like, guys, want to train with you. Like, you want to what? And I'm like, yep, I'm going to start next year as a junior. I'm going to start on varsity. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm like, all right, if you could hang with us today, you could train with us. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm like, well, what are we doing? If you could hang with us on incline bench press. Oh. And I'm like, okay. So I hung with them. And that was my turning point in my life. Like, that was it. It was Coach Miles and Leon Hatton. I haven't talked to Leon since my senior year in high school. I can't find him. The dude doesn't even have social media. Like, he went ghost. Coach Miles, old school, he's not playing on his phone. And they took me in. Leon and I would train till 7 p.m. every night.
Did they allow you to kind of use your own weight, or did they force you to kind of use what they were trying to use and stuff like that? Like, did they try to like really?
Oh yeah,
kill
yeah.
you?
They tried to kill me.
Yeah.
I think it was they were trying to kill the white kid that day. Oh, he thinks he can, but I would too. They're like, he thinks he can hang with us. All right. So I pushed through it. The next year, I literally gained in 3 months. I went from 170 to 240 pounds. Started.
You want to explain that real quick?
I didn't know. So I got drug
Found
tested.
a bag of D-ball something.
So I didn't know what steroids were at the time. Honestly, I had no idea. I just knew they had McGuire at the time, and I had no idea what steroids. I thought steroids were something your food get contaminated with. So I'm like, shit, I think I caught steroids. They're like, so my dad's like, why don't you just get
I wish it was that easy. Oh my God.
I thought
I can't shake it. I can't stop growing muscle.
I thought steroids was like COVID, bro. I'm like,
It would be like when your kid gets chicken pox. Like, oh, hey, everybody come over. Let's all get it right now. Get it out of the way. Let's all get
it turns out, when I started training, something happened where I had some hypergonadism type thing going on. My body started releasing testosterone. Went from 170 to 240, had acne, and I literally was just jacked. I've posted pictures of myself at that. I was jacked. I was like, wow. So I came in, started the next year and, kept lifting with them. But that was my turning point, and, you look at, you want to be that kid, that person in a kid's life. If it wasn't for Coach Miles and Leon right now, I would either be dead or in a really bad spot. And then, of course, when I was 16, I met my wife and she kind of steered me even straighter. And those are my two turning points.
Was your football coach like an actual like mentor, or was it just kind of that one single thing of like, hey, you got to lift, and you lifted with him and stuff? Or did you have?
He was a reverend, and Leon Hatton was just an upperclassman, and I looked up to him, and we only knew each other through training. We didn't hang out. But when we were training, and every Saturday we had this, not every Saturday, we'd go a lot, like go to his grandma's house, she'd make us fried chicken. Then afterwards go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Like I was like, we became.
That sounds amazing.
It was a great life. But we became really good training friends, so to speak. Like we didn't hang out. We rolled in 2 different groups, but we didn't have time. We were busy training. He wanted to go D1. I wanted to get the hell out of my situation. So that's why when I'm like, I want to get into coaching after all this is done, because if it wasn't for Coach Miles, if it wasn't for him, and again, you talk about mentorship, the man's a reverend. I'm Jewish. And, before every lift, we'd pray, and it was just astounding the strength you get through faith. And, again, like those little things, you never know if you could be that one to change that kid's life.
Did they show you maybe a different level too? Like, hey, this is the way, this is the way hard work is done. This is how we do it.
Oh, I mean, these guys, like work ethic, it's still, the only one I've seen work harder than what we did is my daughter. She's the only one. My daughter's crazy.
What was it, 345
345 on the hex bar deadlift.
Yeah. Your daughter? 14. Is that on your IG? Or is
it's
that
on my Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Andrew.
Yeah,
How old is she?
She's 14.
Oh, you said that. Wow.
She's my daughter is.
It's sick form too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little less. That's 330.
Okay.
That's 340. There's another one.
I'll find it.
Damn.
But that's still, I mean, that's
we should have
crazy.
her on the show.
There's my son.
We missed a great opportunity.
That's the older one.
Yeah, just play that one. Who cares?
Yeah, you can play that one. It's still impressive.
315, right?
Yeah, three.
That's
or is that,
well, that's a 55. So that's 335 or whatever. 340. This is mid-season.
Her shoulders didn't even move.
Dude, her form.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her shoulders didn't even move. I mean, she didn't get like the cat back or nothing. I mean,
no, she's amazing.
You said she plays soccer?
Soccer.
She must be rocking these girls. Holy crap.
Unfortunately, the refs know her now, so they call her out all the time. She's picked on.
Dude, pause real quick. When I was 16, I started playing soccer again after my injury. I gained a lot of weight, so I was heavy. And parents tried to get my birth certificate because they're like, this kid. Like, yeah, they're like, we want to see this kid's birth certificate.
That was ridiculous.
Nice.
So is that when you change your birth certificate?
But no, she's
just, I mean, to be inspired by your own child,
dude.
But
that is
how is the
amazing.
Relationship going from a standpoint of now she's getting older, like getting her to practice and stuff. Seems like she's like really into it at this point. But does she ever get like frustrated with you? I know you said that you like to kind of back off and let her do her own thing, but how has that been for you?
I'm trying to hold her back. She trains too much. Like she's the white female Mike Rashid. She's like overtraining, bro.
Go to that picture of his back up there.
And you said she can't like the Olympics thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's me. That's 16.
what?
Yeah.
Boy, you look like a grown man. You look like you're 25 or something.
Yeah, and that's my wife. We've been together that long. Like,
Wow.
she's aged so well. Like, she's the nicest. Like, she's the anti-me, where everybody likes her, and she's very non-polarizing. And like, I'm the one who like either love me or you hate me. There's no in between. Like, my wife's like, she's just a good woman. She's just a good woman.
At this point with you, she probably doesn't even like do one of these. She's probably just like, yeah.
I'll catch her once in a while. I'll catch her. I'll be like, gotcha. Yeah,
Wide back.
yeah. Things are coming along for my, my physique at 40. I'm pretty happy with it.
All right, keep walking us through this story. So
Yeah.
you move on and you end up actually going to college though.
Yeah, I went to college. Went to California Lutheran University in Thousand Oaks. Again, I'm a Californian. I ended up injuring my knee, so I couldn't really play football. So I gave it up. I just got through school really quick, took all the summer courses I could at Glendale Community College and Glendale right by Burbank, and ended up.
Was there something in particular about school where you're like, I'm gonna get this degree and then I'm gonna go do this other thing?
Honestly, I didn't even know. I knew I was going to do something, and I just got a marketing degree because, I started as my mom wanted me to be a lawyer. No, I'm not even lying because I'm Jewish. She thought all Jewish men should be lawyers. I'm not even lying. A lawyer, a doctor, that whole Jewish thing. And, so I ended up going and I'm like, dude, you got to be in school for like 40 years to be a lawyer. I'm like, screw that. And so I ended up kinesiology. Then I learned through my counselor at college how much they make. I'm like, I don't want to do that. My brother had a degree in marketing. So I was like, if that idiot can do it, I can too. And so that's what I went to school for. And I was actually training. I was a training coordinator at Bally Total Fitness. If you remember them? And I was based in Nsima, but I also helped overlook other clubs like Chatsworth in Southern California and Encino and a couple others. And I was at my gym in Simi Valley, and the executive publisher, Bob Washburn at Weeder Publications at the time, he actually knew one of my clients that I trained. And she's like, I don't know what you can do with this kid. He's only like 19, but this kid's driven. And I went and I actually went up, and I knew a bunch of guys had master's degree and years of experience. For some reason, Laya Clark, if you guys know, he's been in the industry a long time on the back end of the industry, like not public, but which is a shame because he's better looking than any of us. He looks like The Rock.
Wow.
And you won't find him on social media either. The dude's a ghost. But and he hired me, and there I was working for Joe Weeder at 19 years old. Crazy. So I had a lot of good shakes. But you say the harder I work, the luckier I get. I've been in an emergency room twice because of exhaustion from overworking. One was when I was 18, when I was 18, and the other was when I was in my 20s. So, I just kept working.
Just didn't sleep much?
No, I didn't. I slept 3 hours a night, maybe. Maybe. I was a mess, dude. My insides were falling apart. Cortisol was through the roof. And, yeah. And I was, and luckily, like for me, I had Katie. I had that support system. Even though I didn't have a family to call back on and go home and get, and have money sent to me. I was doing the opposite. I was sending money to my parents. So it was, I wouldn't trade my life's been a fairy tale. Like, I'm the American dream. I'm the American freaking dream. I'm still living it every day. And everybody else can too. This country is the only place, I'm speaking as an American, so I'm sure you could do it in the UK. But this country is a place that if you literally have the deck stacked against you, if you work hard enough, you can make it. You might not be Bill Gates rich, you might not be Mark Smelly Bell rich, but you'll at least be better than you would have been if you didn't.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything specific that kept you always kind of fired up, like giving you the confidence to go out for the football team? Because I would imagine maybe some other children that are in a similar position that have a drug addicted mom and a dad who's real sick, maybe they just didn't get enough at home to feel good enough about themselves to even like try out for the football team. How did you, have the courage to even do that in the first place? And then how did you have the courage to go up to those guys and ask them? Have you just always been like fired up and pumped about stuff your whole life, pretty much?
I don't know about you, but I love revenge. Revenge is what I drive myself on. A lot of people say that's a bad thing. I actually don't. I was always told that I couldn't do things. It always pissed me off. And I was told, like, to this day, like even a couple years ago, like after all I've done, like I was undersized. So, well, you're undersized, so you'll never make it at football. So I'm like, no. Like Muggsy Bogues was in the NBA. I mean, I could be the outlier, right? I could do that. And then even in bodybuilding, oh, your structure's bad, this and that. I'm like, well, I'm going to prove them wrong, you know? And then business, I was told by someone who, you know, I worked with that, you know, you'll never be able to take a company mainstream. That's just not in your, it's not in your wheelhouse. Now I'm sitting on top of the #1 growing bar in the industry, which is very mainstream. You know, we're sold in grocery stores and 10,000 plus gas stations. You know,
and if you look at what Tiger Fitness has done over the years, you know, it's easy to say, well, how'd you ever get into that market? Look at bodybuilding.com. Well, things have changed. You know, bodybuilding.com is, you know, my last communication with them as of just maybe about a year or two ago, it just sounded like they were getting eaten alive by Amazon. But your company, because you have everyone gets killed by Amazon. Yeah. But your company, because you have a different way about you, and because it is owned by a single person that you can point out of the crowd and say, yeah, that guy owns it. Your company is going to be able to still thrive in an environment like that. And so I think it's an amazing accomplishment. It's an amazing thing that in the face of the adversity and in the face of people saying, hey, like, this doesn't make any fucking sense for you to do that. You're like, well, that's okay. I'm gonna give it my best shot. And you're still standing here, and your protein bar, I would have to say, is, I think I've tasted just about every protein bar that you could ever eat, pretty much. I mean, there's some stuff that you just don't know about, right?
Yeah.
But I'd have to say it's the best tasting protein bar I've ever had. It reminds me of when Muscle Milk came out.
Oh my God, it was so
when
amazing.
Muscle Milk came out, the first go of it, that first run of Muscle Milk from, I think, Champion Nutrition, it just blew your mind. You're like, this is far superior than anything else out there. And that's what I noticed with your bar. Andrew, did you have one yesterday?
Yeah, dude, I had the peanut butter, the cookies and cream peanut butter one. But what I was trying to tell you yesterday is, like, they're so damn good. I had my first one about 1.5 years ago with my buddy Nick in Connecticut. And it was just, oh, here, dude, check this out. Like, this is from Marc Lobliner. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, why not? And next thing I know, I'm like just staring. Like, you know, when you just sit there and stare at the label, like, what the fuck? Like, how is this so good? So, but a question I had is, like, who's that bar made for? Because, like, you look at a Quest bar, and it's like, okay, it's probably like keto friendly.
I think he made it for me.
Other than Mark Bell.
I love how you asked that, because this story is true. And you always, like, you see other, like, I see people knocking off the bar, like, here's why we came out with them. I'm like, no, bitch, you're knocking me off. Mm-hmm. But here's really why it was. Like, it was 2000, I believe it was 2000 and 2015 or 16. And my daughter was just getting into soccer, like the tournaments, the travel, and she's playing center mid. You're running 6 miles a game. She had 3 games that day. And all they had to eat there was funnel cakes and BS food, right? And you can't eat a meal between games. You have no place to go. So we had a Quest bar, which I love Quest. I'm not, everybody always wants me to diss Quest. They built $1 billion empire and they created a new category. God bless them. They paved the way.
They changed the game forever. Plus, they made bars that don't, like, melt. And, you know, when you ship them and things like that.
And ours don't really melt either, which is really cool about the way we formulated it. But the thing about Quest is they also opened up. A lot of people don't realize some retail chains that never carry protein bars. They've done so good for they paved the way for me. So I will always say the nicest things about Quest, except for that time they tried to sue me. But anyway, now it worked out. We got it. I'm not even going to mention that. It's nothing. But no, but it was the most respectful pre-lawsuit. Never happened. But anyway, so we're at this game and she's running 18 miles and she has a game the next day. We have nothing to feed her. And at the time, Quest bar, fiber. There's so much fiber in there. You can't give that to an athlete before a game. I mean, efforting will tell you that, right? You can't do it. It's going to bloat her.
Yeah, especially if you eat like 2 of them, you're going to really be in trouble.
You're done. But again, like as a during the day snack for an adult, great. And then you can't feed them a Cliff Bar or a Z Bar. It's just sugar. It's basically brown rice syrup. It's going to spike and drop. No fat, no protein, nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to make something for my kids. So I spent like 3 years, finally figured it out in July of 2018. I figured it out. So we're like, okay, we got this. So I remember calling, we've talked about it before, Chad, my partner. I'm like, Chad, he's like, these are amazing. What do we, I'm like, can we launch these? I'm like, it's going to cost money. He's like, well, as long as we can, at best case, we might sell $200,000 a year worth of these. At best case. I'm like, well, at least pay for our own consumption of it. So Chad's kids play travel softball. So we literally made these bars for our kids, and we were just going to sell them to MTS nutrition customers. That was it. And then we launched them. It turns out a lot of people had this dilemma. This bar was formulated basically to, I hate the term, it's being everything to everybody. Oh, everybody is for everybody. Nothing's for everybody. This is as close as you're going to get because it was formulated for my kids to have a snack that had a good healthy fat content, that had healthy carbs, superfood carbs, that had whey protein isolate, or for the vegan version had some brown rice and pea because we got the vegan version. But it's also made for me. I have irritable bowel syndrome. So I can't eat Quest or One bars. I just can't. I can. It's just not a good idea for those around me. This was formulated for me to be able to use and also for my kids. So it was everybody from a bodybuilder to an athlete to a child. And since then we've come out with vegan, nut-free. We're working on a keto one. There's a lot going on. So thank you for giving me that loaded question.
Of course.
It was made for my kids.
I know some people will, and I think Andrew was kind of touching upon it. You know, some people are like, it's got too much fat in it, or it has too many carbs in it. But just think of the bullshit that you eat when you go to Starbucks. You know, you get yourself a coffee, you get yourself, one of those little cakes or one of those little bullshit treats or whatever. And even when you're trying to grab something for your kid on the go, it's going to be superior to whatever you are normally going to, grab for your kid. If you're going to make something for them, then maybe not. But how many grams of protein's in it? Like 15 or 20?
So we have the most of them are between 15 and 17. The crisp bar uses whey crisp. We got that up to 20. That's our higher protein variety. Nice. That gets us in the Quest range. Generally speaking, the carb content will be between 25 and 30, and the crisp is a little bit less than that because the protein crisps take up a little more room. And then fats will be around 10 to 13 grams. So it's a snack. But it's also a very balanced snack. So, people are like, hey man, I'm on the carnivore diet. I'm like, man, the bar's not for you. Get a beef jerky. Again, it's not like you can't be everything to everyone. We're trying though. Like we have, my whole thing, I said, dude, we can't do a nut-free version. Boom, we came out with the sunflower seed butter, nut-free, and it's dairy-free because we use the vegan protein. Then we have the vegan version. We have
it's about 300 calories for people listening.
Yep, 300. And if we can nail the keto, I think we pretty much have as many markets as you can. And like I was telling Mark yesterday, we're within probably 10%. It's good now where you'd be like, it kills any. And the keto bars on the market have 20 grams of carbs. They're just they're the nut carbs. Like, shut up. This is actually going to be a legit low carb bar without any of the added BS. So I'm excited. It's in stability testing. So we're really close. And we have 20 flavors, 20 varieties.
Wow.
Yesterday marked our 2-year anniversary from launching it at the Olympia. I didn't even realize it. It came up my Facebook memories. I'm like, oh my God. I posted to the group and everybody was asleep because we're in California. I'm like, bro, it's all right. And everybody got it this morning. They're like, oh, that was yesterday. I'm like, dumbass, I'm in California. So yeah, it's the most exciting thing because I didn't mean to do it. And I want to get back on something you talked about, is that the success of our companies. And one thing is that you're a brilliant man, right? You're a smart guy. I've known you for years. You play the whole meathead. You're not a meathead. You've built an empire. You have a warehouse in California. You need at least 80 million to build one of these, right? But you've surrounded yourself with smart people. Everyone here is good at what they do. And I noticed that when I first walked in, they take ownership in the company. And that's because you don't have an ego. You absolutely don't. Or else you wouldn't hire people better than you at what they do. And that's weak leadership. Weak leaders hire weak people, and that's why they don't grow. Everybody in my company is smarter than me at what they do. Every single one. And that's why you've built this. You got yourself to a certain level, but you pulled a Ronald Reagan in that you hired people who basically filled your void. And that's what's really cool about coming in here, because it's exactly what I want in my companies. And I wanted to
thank you for that. I appreciate
give
that.
you a nice little
Thank
applause.
you.
For that.
You know, I
Even
think
this guy over here.
that's my that's kind of the goal, is to have everyone be autonomous. You know, have them be able to, even though the company's not massive, we don't have hundreds of employees. You get to lead up your own. You know, this is your own division. Maybe it's only a division of one, but that's okay. You lead yourself and you follow yourself. You check your own work, and that's what Andrew does with the podcast. I'm not like, he might ask me once in a while, and I'll just say, hey, whatever makes your life easier, like, let's do that. Like, you need something, like you need an extra computer, or like, how can I assist you to be better? But otherwise, I just don't know anything about what you do, so I can't really be of much service. I hired you to do it yourself.
And that's perfect, because when everybody micromanages, you never grow. You got to grow. There's so many talented people out there. People who might not even know they have talents. Like we were talking about Tyler, who came from Skyline Chili. Basically our inventory guy. He keeps track of all the production and everything. Like, if you were looking at his resume, you would be like, why would I hire this guy for that? But he grew into the position. So your goal is you hire this person because you see something special in him. And then you can find where they fit. You find where their strengths are. And they
make their own job almost a lot of times. And I even ask employees every couple months, I'll say, what do you hate? What do you like the least out of everything you do? And then I'll say, okay, well, give me a few months. Let me see what, if I can take that off your plate. Because I want you to lean into the interest as much as humanly possible. Yeah. There's always going to be some bullshit that you might have to do that you don't really want to do.
Yeah, and a lot of what I do, I don't like doing. It's like paperwork, contracts. Don't like those, but it's part of life. So that's the thing, is that surrounding yourself with good people. The coolest guy in the world, Mike Rashid, calls it leveling up. You get people who are on this level, and if you're here, and that it kind of makes you come up to their level. Again, what is it? High tide rises all boats, or whatever. I can't think. I need more of this right now.
Need more mind bullet.
Honestly, it's great. I really do feel, and I normally don't feel things in my brain.
It's awesome.
But this one, yes, very good work.
Yeah, it gives you a good kick. I think a lot of times kind of mind altering supplements, I've never really felt them real powerfully. Nootropics and things like that.
We definitely. I want this just so I could take it out of inventory.
The truckload.
This is great. Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed because people send me stuff all the time, and I'm like, yeah.
And you dug the bicep board.
The bicep board.
I wouldn't steer you wrong, bro.
So the bicep board is something that I'm gonna get the link from you, and I'm gonna buy it for my gym in Ohio and for my house. That thing is awesome.
I still haven't been able to use it.
Oh my God, dude, for lats?
We have to try to
it's so good.
We have to really try to keep him away from knowing the new shit and stuff.
Because he's
so fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Look at him. Does he need to be more jacked?
No, definitely not.
Does he need to look younger than us than he already does?
I think I look kind of old.
Does he? I don't think so. Not compared to us.
Yeah, but you're going to stay with that look until you're 80.
Let's pray for that. Yes, Lord.
The handsome guy.
He's very handsome. Very handsome.
What are we going to do?
What do you mean?
What are we going to do? Can we do anything about it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we sometimes just got to settle for second place.
Just keep getting older.
It's like when Ronnie stepped on stage in 2003. Dexter's story of that is great. He's like, we all were backstage like, all right, I guess we know how it's going to go tonight,
Just grab their luggage right then and just get on the plane.
One thing you can do is convince him to use lotion.
No lotion?
He doesn't use lotion. He's one of those.
Why not?
Even your skin looks amazing, Mark.
Well, I lotion up all the time.
I know.
Wow. That's all from lotion?
Yeah.
Look how smooth it is. It's like milky.
It's very smooth. Yeah. I'm like, I have these routines I got to do. Like,
are you hard all over?
Yeah. No. If I was, I'd be very disappointed in what's going on right now. I'm a grower. I got these routines, man. Like I've read books, and all these rich people have these like routines, right? Like you wake up, you do boom, boom, boom. So like skincare and teeth care are two things that I'm huge on. Like oral hygiene. Big fan of oral. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So, I mean, all that stuff, it's kind of become a routine where if I don't do it, I don't. Even when I travel, like half my luggage is like, I got my Mark Pro we were talking about. I got a Mark Pro at least once a day.
You know what? Tell us about that. I found that to be interesting. You're using it on the plane and stuff.
Yeah, Mark Pro is basically a stim unit. I can't talk science. They talk about waves and all this, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's about $500. And it's a stim unit. You put these pads on you. And when I fly, I used to find when I get off a plane, I felt like I got hit by a bus. It would take me a day to recover. I landed yesterday and we crushed back.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I got off the plane. I even told Cross, my buddy who's here, my colleague, who's handling the camera work, mostly out, in the hotel room. Hey now. Is that
I know.
your word?
Yeah, hey now. I know about that.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? I saw him post like, yeah, you can fly with this. And I'm like, I fly a lot. This would be great. This is before COVID, right? And so I put it on my lower back and my...
Oh, I thought you put on your nuts. No?
No, that would hurt.
Oh, okay.
I put on my lower back and usually my T-band, or I'll put it on my hamstring, my quad, or I'll put it on my calf and up here.
People are looking at you like you're crazy because you're like, muscles
absolutely.
are flexing, right?
Absolutely. Like my legs twitching and, but I'll get off the flight. And sometimes I'll put the pads on before I get on the plane, so I'm not like reaching down my pants. And I'm just hooking it up really quick. But I'll get off the plane. I'll feel like $1 million. Like I will feel like I just went through like some kind of a spa treatment. And I swear by this thing. It's a Marc Pro. It's marcpro.com, and it's a great device. Dr. Storet's a fan of it. Gary Reinl, who's the guy who invented not icing. Icing being the worst thing in the world. Literally got the guy who invented rice to say he was wrong. Like, that's how gangster Gary Reinl is. And, I swear by it. So if you fly, but I do it every night for at least 30 minutes. Sometimes if I train chest, I'll put it on here.
Right.
A lot of times on my legs. It's a game changer.
I have had friends before tell me about, like, oh, you should use it when you travel. And I've always just kind of ignored it. But when you actually told me, like, you used it on the plane and how different you felt, I was like, oh man, my friends are right. I should just fucking do it.
You should.
I have one. Weird. I just need to bring it with me.
There's plenty of space. Like
it's not big. It's not huge.
No, get the regular Pro. There's a Pro and the Pro Plus. Even Gary will say you just need the Pro.
Size of like Dre Beats headphones or whatever. I mean, it's
it's not very big. It's like this, and then you have the little modules. But I swear by it. It's those little recovery tricks, and it's not cheap. But the only thing I have to replace is the pads, and they're not overly expensive either. So it's just a matter of your budget. But if you fly a lot, or even if you don't, just putting it on your legs at night or after a hard session definitely speeds up recovery.
It's annoying when you're flying. You're just kind of in a weird position for a little while, and it's just things tighten up, and if you can be more comfortable, then why not?
When I start traveling overseas again, I mean, taking it to Australia, and I'm at the point in my career where I do upgrade to first class a lot. So in first class, you got all the space in the world, and you land, and you're in a good spot.
So you're doing a bodybuilding show?
Yeah, I'm coming back, man. It's been years, over 5 years. Masters USA, because bodybuilders, normally the good ones die before the age of 40. So I figure there's no one left. I might have a chance.
And you have to get your pro card again? Did it expire?
I was a NABA pro, and it expires, but I could probably call them and be like, hey guys, can I get my NABA card? Because there's 2 NABA pros left. When I got my NABA card, it was funny because I was getting ready for nationals, and I did a warm-up show, and I ended up winning it. They're like, well, to do nationals, you got to forfeit your pro card. I'm like, well, I had this shit like 2 months. I'm like, at least let me enjoy calling myself a pro for like 3 months. So yeah, it's been a while. I'm really excited because I'm holding it like 220 pounds. I'm leaner than I've ever been. I had diastases in my abs, so I have mesh and 40 titanium screws. And I posted a picture on my Instagram this morning of how small my waist is. And I never had that before because it's the most unflattering picture, but I post it anyway. Like, in the morning, my face looks, I'm like 80 years old. My eyes are all droopy. And I'm like, I got to post this because I'm really proud because surgery was really hard. So I had to get literally titanium screws put in my stomach.
When did you get that surgery?
This was 2016, I believe, or 2000. It was one of those, I think it was 2015 or 16.
Anything similar to what Phil Heath had to have happen?
Does anybody know what Phil Heath had done?
I guess he had like some sort of hernia.
I know he had a hernia patch. They just do it over the spot. Mine's literally from right above the ding, 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 and then right up to here. So it's this whole area right here. My thing is, and I've said this, and I'd like to, but just going off topic, if Phil got the full mesh, 2 things that'll determine the Olympia. Number 1 is it takes a long time to heal. Like, I didn't notice my abs come down and get used to it for about 2 years.
And I think he's been around that.
Yeah. But if he got a patch over his hernia, my issue is if you look at his stomach during the Olympia, if he just got a patch, there was something off about not just one area. Like a hernia is like a bump. His entire midsection, there was something off about. I'm a Phil Heath friend and fan. But if he got the full mesh like I did, and again, he makes money with his body. I don't, right? Like he probably, it's going to look amazing. If he just got a patch, there was something weird with his overall
It might be hard.
abdomen. So that's a huge variable. But yeah, it was a tough recovery. I mean, it was hard because you have no control. Like you have no control over your midsection or your core. So peeing's hard. You have to basically overdose on making magnesia to poop, and it's just like basically. Wow. And it was a tough. And I had to sleep on the recliner, and it was a tough couple weeks. But man, I had a good surgeon. Like he did a good job. I'm really happy. But yeah, I mean, I'm coming back because it's easy. I'd hate to say that, but I don't eat a lot. And part of it's because I have mesh holding my stomach in. But for me, my main issue is eating enough food. And, you know, I don't have to get on any crazy steroids. I'm on HRT. I'm just going to roll right with that on in. And so I'm like, why not? And I see who's, you know, my buddy Mac Truck won last year. He looked great. And I think I'm on his level. And he would probably say the same. I think we're comparable bodybuilders. I'm not saying I'm better than him. I'm saying that we're in the same league, I'd say. And I think that I'm going to show conditioning is how I'm going to win. And I'm really excited because I haven't seen my body since like my body, you know how it is to get shredded. Like you're like, man, I want to do that just one more time. And if I win, I'm going to roll right into a pro show because I don't think a pro card counts until you do a pro show. That's my opinion. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because I feel great. And if I can just OD on this stuff, I'll be okay. I'll be like at the show, like, what's going on, guys? Why are you guys so mad? You know, but yeah, for me, it's, I stay lean. I don't hold water, you know, and I'm almost 20 pounds heavier than I was when I got my first pro card.
Wow.
I was 202 when I weighed in.
Oh shit.
And everybody thought I was 220 and I lied. So, well, I didn't lie. People were like, man, you look like you're 220. I'm like, yep. I never corrected them. So I never actually said I was
like the 100-pound dumbbell presses.
Yes. Chris Cuomo. Yep. By the way, that was my most viral post on Twitter ever. But yeah,
What happened?
So Chris Cuomo has a picture of him typing while holding a 100-pound dumbbell in his hand. We all know it's fake. But then I saw people go like, you see this dude? He was like, yeah, everybody thought it was real. Like the mainstream. So I'm like, dude, there's a good chance to just grift and get this might go viral. Like I did first video I ever did with the intent of going viral. Like it was real. I'm like, I sent it to I got it edited, you know, it was like, yep. This is going to do it. And sure enough, man, people hate that guy. And it gave me an opportunity to really kind of grow my Twitter following by a couple thousand followers. I'm going on some conservative talk shows on like Blaze TV. I was mentioned on InfoWars like 4 times. I'm on the underground right-wing circuit. Like, it's really cool. And I didn't even do anything. I'm like, all I did was demonstrate how friggin' heavy a 100-pound dumbbell is. Because shoulder press is like my thing. I used to like 130s, like 160s. I've gotten some weight. I couldn't lift a damn 100-pounder over I couldn't, like, no, not one arm. I could do 2. Yeah. You got, one arm. Have you ever tried to single arm
It's heavy.
Oh, no. So I'm like, I demonstrated with 50, then I did 80. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just put this out there. And everybody, all the big name right-wing guys shared it. I'm like, hell yeah.
That's great.
Now I'm going on the right-wing talk show circuit. So I'm gonna make America great again, wear a MAGA hat, get a pitchfork, whatever they want me to do.
Yeah, I think it was great that you came out here because of Trump.
I didn't even know it was here.
That was amazing. You landed basically the same time as he did, right?
Yeah. They didn't let me on Air Force One this time, but I'm hoping next time it happens. But, you know, honestly, I enjoy the discourse. I enjoy talking to people, you know, and I like when people have different opinions. I think that's what makes this country great. I don't want people, if you agree with me on everything I stand for, that's why I can't be like, I'm a Republican. I can't do it. I could be like, I'm going to vote for this guy. And in Tennessee, you do have to declare to vote in the primary. So I did declare Republican. But I've always been like in Illinois, it's open primary, so I'm an independent. And that's because I don't agree with everything anybody stands for. I don't want to be a part of your tribe. I want to have that open mind where if there is a Democrat who comes out, like, I like some things that Tulsi stands for. And if she was up against Trump, even though she's kind of socialist, it would be a real debate in my head who I'd vote for. And people are like, oh, Tulsi's a socialist. I'm like, yeah, but you're looking at one thing she does. I think overall, I mean, she's an active duty service person. She just seems like a good person. And I always like to put I don't think Biden's a good person. I don't necessarily think Trump's a good person. Biden was against ending segregation. People seem to forget that. And, you know, I talked about choice theory. I don't know if I can forgive being against ending segregation. I just can't, because that segregation's bad. I don't think any of us are going to go on that hill and die. No, segregation's a great thing. He actually said that. And he's openly used the N-word on. I mean, I know it was context, but you just don't say it.
Yeah.
There's just certain rules. And I know white people are like, well, they say it in hip hop song. Just stop that fight. That's not your fight. Just give it up. You don't get a pass for that word. You just don't. Just give it up.
Did you ever see his interview with Charlemagne, or part of the interview with Charlemagne?
The You're Not Black one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just so funny. And then he did something with Cardi B.
So here's a story. I always go on tangents. I had an 80-year-old, and everything I say here, I'm not going to say the N-word, but I'm going to say a word that might be offensive to some people everybody. So I had an old neighbor. She was the nicest woman, wasn't racist. I don't think she was. And in North Carolina, lived right next door to us. Her husband passed away. Just sweetest old woman. She goes, yeah, she's like, people moving across the street, they're black. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, well, we don't have many colored people in the state, right? Color's a bad word. You don't use the word colored. And I'm like, all right then, Sue, it's like, this is a different world, but she was 80.
Yeah.
Right. She doesn't know that's racist, because she lived through segregation and she lives through the civil rights.
She actually is probably trying to be nice and say it because she's uncomfortable and doesn't know what the hell to say.
Exactly. Joe Biden is nearly 80 years old. He's basically my crazy old white lady neighbor from North Carolina. And we're going to give him the power to press that red button. I don't know if I want to do that. But what I'm saying is it's a different era. But I guarantee you Sue wasn't out there talking about the racial jungle, dropping N-bombs on CNN. Joe Biden was, and he also backed Senator Byrd. There's certain things I can't forgive. And I draw the line at that. And that's why, I just can't roll with that. And then, well, Trump did this. No, Trump didn't do what he did. No, he wasn't in government at that time. This guy literally was actively legislating against ending segregation. I can't roll with that. So for me, my reason but back to Tulsi, she's a good woman. Joe Biden, I think, is just a bad person. And I'm not saying Trump's a good person. I'm saying in the bad people race, he might be a foot or two ahead by my judgment. And also the fact that Trump's actually owned businesses and actually contributed to society rather than being a parasitic politician, I got to give Trump my vote. And that doesn't mean that I'm all MAGA, but I went to a MAGA rally last week in Franklin, Tennessee. I went to a rally. I did. It was awesome. Put on by this guy named Robbie Starbuck on Twitter. Great guy. He lives right in my area, right? And they had the CJ Pearson kid, this young, I think he's 19-year-old black kid. Oh my God, the best speaker I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
But I'll tell you this.
Never heard of him.
Kurt Dennis, look him up. He's a 300-pound, 6'2", the largest black man you'll ever see. He's all in on the MAGA. So I'm rolling with him. So I felt really safe. And then there's dudes with ARs.
Have I seen you post pictures with him or something?
Yeah, Kurt.
Yeah,
Kurt
he's fucking massive.
He makes me look like a child.
Can we find this? I gotta see
Kurt Dennis, Hulk. I think it's Hulkzilla, Kurt, or something like that.
Yeah, he's fucking massive.
Oh my God!
I was like, what the?
But he is all Merca, and his friends are there. His crew,
Merca.
They come in strapped with like 12 guns, like ARs. Dude had an AR, a sidearm, and one in his sock. I'm like, well, in case World War III breaks out, we're safe.
Wow.
And then but there was, and the CJ Pearson kid, the greatest speaker I've heard. But everybody was loving and hugging, and people were kind, and there was no racism, and there was no bigotry. Dude is enormous.
Wow. Jesus.
He's 6'12".
Wait. So is he actually 6'2", 300, or
He's 300. He's 295.
I know.
at 6'2"?
He's 6 foot. I don't know, man. I'm only 5'8". Anything over 5'9" is gigantic to me.
Wow. He's a monster.
He's the most unknown, big dude I've ever seen. And he's
Big
outspoken. He's very, very pro-America. He lives up in my area, Nashville. Yeah, he's such a good dude.
Imagine the dick on that guy. It's got to be unreal. Mark, what'd you see? Tell us. Let us know.
We haven't gotten that intimate yet, but he only lives like 20 minutes from me. I'll be sure to take pictures.
Straight to the dick, huh?
Oh, yeah. You got
Every time.
I mean, if it's even just slightly in proportion to his body,
that's what I'm saying.
It's got to be 9 inches.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo.
Dude, he's repping out like 405. Like it's us.
He's like he's like yawning while he's doing
and he's in his 40s, dude. He ain't a young kid.
Look at his legs. Jesus.
I'm telling you, man.
Wow.
Nobody, like, usually I'm the big guy. There I am. Look at how big, look how small I am. Look how small I am next to him.
Oh my God.
Wow, he is like 6'2".
He's enormous.
Damn.
His beard's 6'3".
Impressive man.
Is that his penis?
I think so. Yeah, it's like trying to hug your leg.
This is a lot of white boy fun going on over here, yo.
White people just talk about BBC all day long.
What else is there to talk about?
I can't get down with it.
Yeah, look how large this guy is. But anyway, this is why nobody. This is why.
We got Nsima going on.
Can you imagine if Antifa showed up to that rally?
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
He's enormous.
God.
He'd be an interesting character to have. He's very just. He loves his country, man. But but I'll tell you what. I've never been to a more positive, started with the Star Spangled Banner, said the Pledge of Allegiance, said a prayer, and then just talked about really good stuff. And then everybody hung out. I had to leave early because my son had a soccer game down the road. But I'm like, if I was looking at it from an independent standpoint, which I like to think I am, even though I do have my bias because I'm a capitalist, so obviously I'm going to side with conservatism. If I'm looking in and I'm driving through Franklin, I see this loving freedom rally, and then I see Antifa and BLM, what side am I going to be on? Like these riots and everything going on, all it's doing is pushing more people to Trump's side. Because I'll tell you what, and this is just me speaking as an objective third party, I've never seen a more positive, uplifting message than I saw it. Maybe it's just because it's where I live, but like it's very diverse. Like it's changed. Like if you look at even the Latin vote is going that way. I think divisiveness is not good. And so we're in a two-party system. Tulsi lost. But if it was Tulsi v. Trump, I'll tell you what, there's a 70% chance, unless stuff comes out when you're running, right? I don't know everything about her. There's a 70% chance she'd have gotten my vote.
Is Biden like not going to have any rallies?
I mean, I don't think he can survive a rally. Like the guy is literally half dead. I mean, I'm not even joking. I just don't think there's any chance whatsoever that he'll win.
Yeah, I'm curious real quick, guys.
It seems like Trump's picking up some points.
So
a lot.
Some people think Biden has like a memory thing, and there's also the narrative that it's actually a stammer. What do you guys think? Is it both, or like, because that guy seems to be really just going.
Have you seen his old? Now I remember Biden because we had I used to actually listen to his stuff. I think Biden was funny. You know, it used to make me laugh when he was the VP. I was like, I like that guy.
Yeah,
I loved him. I honestly think it's just age-related cognitive decline, and it's really sad that the country has to be in this position that the Democrats put forth such a horrible candidate. And Kamala, her past and what she did with prisoners and, you know, the free labor for the state of California, she's evil. Like she is an evil, evil, evil person.
When I found out about that stuff, I was just like,
and she's proud of it. She's like, yeah, she's not even African American. She's Indian. Like her family is straight up Indian. Like it is and Jamaican. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's some, but I mean, you know, the thing is like, it's just if you actually look into that ticket and it's again, like I wanted to not vote for Trump. I was like, okay, I'm not a Trump guy. Like I'm voting for him based on the current field, unless The Rock somehow jumps into the race. But I can't vote for a guy who was against ending segregation, and I can't vote for Kamala, who is absolutely just a detestable creature.
People tend not to try to look into what she's done because of what people see, she's a black woman, right?
She's apparently black.
Yeah. So like people don't want to look into the past where she's put a lot of innocent men in jail for things that they didn't do when she's known about it.
Innocent men who are predominantly one color.
And, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's part of the game. She's a prosecutor. It's what you have to do. But then where is your morality? Like,
you know what? We addressed this years ago, the amino spiking thing. And this is a morality. My argument, like there were brands, I'm not going to name names, but there were brands who, oh, well, they amino spike their protein, but their pre-workout's good. I'm like, if they ethically lied to you on the label of the protein, what do you think makes every other category of product differently? So if someone has ethically, and let's not forget that she got in that position by sleeping with her boss. I mean, so she has the word. If she ever gets in, if Pence will destroy her in a debate, because Pence is, people don't understand. Like, see, now that's the guy I ended up liking more than I thought I would after COVID. Like, even though I didn't agree with a lot of what they were doing, Pence is like that guy who calms everybody down. Like Trump goes and just Tasmanian devils everything. Pence is like, and if they ask him a question, like they straight up dissed him and he just turned it around. He was calm, collected. Like that guy's ice.
he creeps me out a little bit, to be honest.
You know what? I gained respect for him because he will not go to dinner with a female unless his wife's with him.
Smart.
And everybody's like, oh, he's sexist. I'm like, no, he's smart, man. He's smart as, because they ain't going to ever accuse him of any, like, all the fault. DC is dirty. He's like, look, unless it's a threesome with my wife, then I didn't say any of that shit. Like he's got it covered. Like that dude is, but he's legit. I don't think that's a guy who you have to question his morals and his ethics. I think he's a real Catholic. Like there's the Sunday Christians and then there's the Christians. And then there's the born against or, you know, somewhere else. But this guy is legit. And from everybody I know from Indiana, like that's him. Like that dude's legit. So I like the ticket. I do. Based on what I've seen. And I think based on what's going on now, you have a president who's still wearing a mask. And you have a president who's like, by 2021, everything's 100% back to normal. And just my stance on what went on with this COVID, the fact that someone's still trying to ride out everybody and wants to nationally mandate masks, which is completely unconstitutional. Yeah, on that issue alone, like, no, I'm not just going to vote against Biden. I'm going to tell everybody not to vote for him. Vote for the libertarian whack job. Just don't vote for that guy. I mean, you know, that's not the guy. It's just not the guy. And even if you hate Trump, I want you to take that out of the picture and just compare them for what they've done and who they are and what they can bring to the table. And the past does mean a lot. And you can't just say things and the lies. Like all their campaign ads are complete lies. Like they're like what Trump said. Trump didn't say that about the military. Trump's gotten, and also I'm an isolationist. I don't like war. I'm an isolationist, 100%. That's one of the reasons I became a libertarian at the beginning. Trump has started no new wars and he's pulling troops out. Got my vote. I don't care if he grabs somebody by the vagina. You know, I mean, doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. Joe Biden wouldn't even be able to find the vagina at this point in his life. And I like the fact that we've gone from Monica Lewinsky to Playboy, Playmates, and porn stars. That's my president right there. Like he's banging some hot chicks, bro. Like those are chicks. If you're going to get caught banging chicks, he's like, good job, bro. Like, dude, seriously. Like, that's some JFK Marilyn Monroe stuff right there. Right. Like, he's banging Playmates. Lewinsky, Playmate. Lewinsky, Playmate.
I don't know.
Pick their poison on that one, right?
So you like Lewinsky?
Yeah, right? Nsima, try that outright bar. You haven't tried one yet, right?
I haven't tried one yet.
There we go.
All right, so we're going to try it on air.
You know,
Yeah, just...
this shit's terrible.
It's disgusting. Never tasted anything so bad in my whole life.
How many of these can I drink a day? 6?
I've had 2 in a day before.
Yeah.
16?
6 sounds good.
It depends. If you take the capsules...
Smell test smells amazing. I've never had a...
They're so good.
What's the results? He's going to start drooling all over himself. That's what happened to me yesterday. I was like, oh shit, I need to clean this up.
That's so good.
It doesn't like taste like a protein bar, which is a dope thing. It actually tastes like it actually tastes like a candy bar or something. That's good.
That's awesome.
That's really fucking good.
That's a good combination too.
Yeah,
peanut butter and
when he said that flavor, cookie and cream and peanut butter, I was like, the fuck?
So we had, it should be here today.
Genius.
So Randall over at our Vegas warehouse sent over, I think, 2 cases of, you should get about, I think it's like 40 cases.
Oh my God.
So you guys are going to be fat as when you're done with this, man.
That's crazy.
Everybody's going to
just
be
for the
overweight.
podcast too. That's awesome.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, we sent
Just
it.
don't say anything, Jess. No, I was saying because she was going to try to steal some of our cookies or protein bars for the podcast.
Oh, okay. Now we
It's freaking awesome,
See,
right?
but that's the thing. The problem is that when something is so good,
you eat too many.
Keep going.
it's like if there were 3 more, I'd just be like, let me just go eat those next 3.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's at the point now where it was an accident. I mean, I've been
Dude, are
trying.
you just like waiting for them to come off the assembly line fresh? I can see you like in the manufacturing plant, like picking them off the line.
So the beautiful thing is about our supply chain is we figured out a way where we never have it in our warehouse for longer than 7 days. So we've been able to scale from literally 0 to a couple million bars a month with absolutely no shelf issues.
Are these are they baked at all? Are they
They're
cooked
baked.
at all?
It's baked.
Okay.
It's a baked.
Can you send me the dough? Send me some of the microwave.
So,
have you tried
microwave 10 seconds?
10 seconds. Oh my
10
god.
seconds with the s'mores.
Have you
is really
tried
good.
just the dough uncooked?
Yeah, of course.
Is it amazing?
Honestly, there's not much of a
I
difference.
need to know more about this.
But what we the thing is that it's we do our best to keep them as fresh as possible. Every bar from Quest, you get in 2-3 months, it's going to change but if you ever get one that's a little bit less moist, so to speak, you put it in the microwave for 10 seconds. Because with, a 12-month shelf life, it's not like at month 12, it's like, I'm done. It's like the experience is the best as they're newer, but you can always refresh that just by microwaving for about 10 seconds. So that's one thing. But you get that with any food product, from bread to...
I think it's a great thing about your companies that you have is that you have leverage.
Are you all right, bro?
Bro, this is so damn good.
Delicious, yeah.
He's about to start crying. Like a
Oh man.
Do I have to get him we have more flavors
This
coming.
is so good, man. Holy shit. Sorry, Mark. Go
Gotta hit
ahead.
him with the paddles. Clear.
Yo.
That's probably what it's like at the
Oh
warehouse.
yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Look at that. Is that you right there, Mark?
No, it's been, again, it's you spend your whole life trying to, and I mean, you probably did you expect the slingshot to blow up the way it did?
I knew it would do well. Yeah. I didn't. I don't know if I.
Do you think it will create this empire?
Not necessarily. No. Yeah, I didn't know I was gonna do that.
I didn't think it would sell at all. I thought I was just gonna make it for me and my
And it'd be
homies.
fun. Yeah. It'd be fun, and you'd sell a few.
But that's
here and there.
but you made that slingshot for you,
Right.
That's the difference. When you have a personal vested passion and interest in something, it makes it better because you're not just trying to make something for someone else. You become the market.
Right.
And what we don't realize, I always try to detach myself from the market. What if we are the market? What if my family isn't atypical? What if my family is like most other families? What if it's even like 10% of the families?
Right.
It's a lot of people. And when you get out of the niche, you get out of the protein pills, you get out protein products, you get out of the pre-workouts, the market's big. There's a lot of market share to be had in performance foods. Unfortunately, there's a lot of players. So what can you do to differentiate? And that's the key. And I didn't even try. But I knew I needed something different because what was on the market wasn't fitting my needs.
You can really look at it as a functional food because there's it's not hurting your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a key factor, especially for, getting your kids some good nutrition. But I think where you have a leg up on, again, like kind of mentioning the bodybuilding.coms or some of these other companies that have started is that, and I'm sure your fans are aware of this, but people that don't know you and maybe are unaware of Tiger Fitness is, a tremendous amount of information about nutrition, a tremendous amount of information about food, a tremendous amount of information about how to prep for a bodybuilding show. You lifted with some of the best bodybuilders. You lift still now with Brandon Curry, Mr. Olympia. You lifted with world champion powerlifters. You have investigated this stuff. And in talking to you yesterday, about carbs and different things like that, it was refreshing to hear you kind of say I don't necessarily like carbs from a health perspective, but, they're necessary sometimes for me to, go into certain phases of bodybuilding, or I'll suggest them to certain people for certain reasons. And I love that. And I think that that's really important when people are thinking about where to put their money. I think it's great to invest their money in a company, one of your companies, because you have that knowledge, you have that backing, and then your even your customer service is probably going to reiterate a lot of the same things that you believe in and so forth.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And I think, looking at just health and longevity and research is constantly evolving. We were talking yesterday about what you're eating, the protein, you literally, the data is pretty profound because it proved me wrong. And I've been wrong a lot of times. My diet theories change every time research evolves. Research doesn't change, it evolves. I think we'll agree on that. It doesn't change. Like fats are still fats and carbs are still carbs, right? But it evolves. And, the new data is pretty compelling in that you can overeat protein and not gain fat. And it's ridiculous, almost to the point of gluttony. You can overeat. So if from a performance standpoint, everybody, my one disagreement with like the keto people is that carbs are your preferred energy source. Some of them will say that. No, it's not. I mean, because it's like lining up three girls and you're like, and you prefer the one. Maybe I like blondes and that's the one I'm going to sleep with, right? Not that ever happens to me or ever will happen, but with you give them all three macronutrients. What's your body going to first for energy? It's going to glucose. Your body likes glucose. It's easy. It's really easy. So, and also spares protein and all that good stuff, right? But for performance, absolutely. I mean, there's a good amount of data and evidence that carbohydrate inclusive diets aid performance. But if I'm not concerned about performance, if I just want to be my leanest, my strongest, my healthiest, and I'm looking at how to do that, if I'm just looking from a pure longevity standpoint and I'm cool not gaining the optimal amount of mass, I'm still going to train, I'm still going to exercise. The more I look at it and the more as evidence evolves, the more I'm thinking, you eat protein almost to the point of not having to measure it. You just make sure you get enough. And then you fill in the rest. You have your fat inclusive meals. You get, let's say, 0.5 to 1 gram of fat per pound of body weight, right? And then you have fibrous vegetables or vegetable type, like broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, whatever, things like that as your other source. And you don't need carbs. Are you going to perform optimally in a competitive setting? No, but you're also going to stay, and this is assuming you've already lost the fat. Like I haven't seen it on losing weight. I've seen it on putting weight back on. So let's say you've dieted down, right? If you were just to switch to essential fats or fats your body needs to survive, protein, adequate protein, and then fill in the rest with vegetables, and then take in your micronutrients through supplements or whatever your supplementation of choice is, you're going to have a really hard time getting fat.
What you just said would work for anybody.
Yeah.
Period.
It's fantastic. I mean, I still believe in veggies. I still think they're optimal. I still think you should have some fiber in your diet. Do you need as much as a lot of people recommend? No. I mean, I think
there's a lot that's unknown about vegetables when it comes to the anti-nutrient thing. Like
you're
everyone's
right.
like,
oxalates.
Yeah, but I think we have it wrong. I think that because for every yin, there's a yang. There's always another side of the story. So the anti-nutrients that might be in there, I think, are causing other things that are probably beneficial to the body that we because I don't believe that they're bad for you.
Well, the evidence on vegetables is longevity. I mean, there's ample evidence on vegetables and fruits being healthy, and so as I look at it, if I was ever to quit wanting to perform optimally, if I just want to perform.
And when you say perform, do you mean in the bodybuilding setting?
Both. In the gym. I mean, at the end of the day, I've been on low carb diets. I've been on keto diets. I've tried carnivore. I've tried all that. My training, no matter how much sodium and pre-workout and any ancillary, I could even add D-bol to this. It's just carbohydrates are just frigging awesome. They're just awesome for training. They just are.
Much easier to tolerate a caloric deficit in my own experience. Much easier to handle a caloric deficit with a little bit of carbohydrates in your system and extreme amounts of protein.
You're absolutely correct. So I think if I'm just trying to maintain, if I'm just trying to live my best life and I don't want to count calories, a controlled carbohydrate, adequate fat, and, a lean protein diet. And lean protein, wild salmon, I consider that lean protein. I think it's 30 grams and then you get like 7 grams of fat for a good, Pacific wild salmon. So, I mean, I'm not saying just eat tilapia. I won't eat tilapia. You couldn't pay me to eat that friggin' ghetto ass fish.
I haven't had that in years.
It's so bad. And
it eats its own poop or something too, right?
It's like a catfish type bullshit fish. And yet for bodybuilders, they love it because there's no fat.
Yeah.
But I'm eating fish. I want that fat.
You can eat orange roughy.
Oh God. We told that story yesterday. Orange roughy, don't overdo it.
Why?
Oh no.
Orange roughy has a weird type of fat in it that has like a wax type of thing to it, so you don't digest it, which is great because it doesn't count as calories.
Nice.
However,
so when I was guest posing, I think I was guest posing or prepping, and I was in Texas, and so I went to the store, and I'm cheap. Those who know me, I'm the cheapest man you'll ever meet. So I went to the store to buy some tilapia because I was dieting, right? And that's what you dieted on. Again, I've gone through many diet phases, and I was eating only fish. I was a pescatarian at the time.
Oh.
So I'm like, Orange Ruffy, I knew Jen Hendershot. She lived in my neighborhood back in the day. She used to diet on Orange Ruffy. I'm like, I bought like 2 pounds of that shit, man. Cooked in a hotel room. I had an extended stay, and that's all I ate. And so I went to the bathroom that night, and there was like, you ever see like oil and vinegar when you mix up salad dressing and it's just the brown shit floats to the top? Mm-hmm. That's how I had like that in the water. Like there was drops of oil dropping from my butthole in the water. And so the next day,
it's that orangey red hot sauce, buffalo wing, butter mixture.
Yes. Yeah. So the next day I'm like walking around, and it felt like my butt cheeks were lubricated when I was walking. So I I'm going to the bathroom in a public restaurant. I pulled out my pants. They're brown. I'm leaking.
Oh,
and
leakage.
So I go, and we're at like Applebee's or something, right? And I go to I'm like, my buddy at the time, Mike George in Texas, his wife Lori was a nurse, and she also was a competitor. I'm like, I think something's wrong. I think my liver's failing or something. Like, why? I'm like, well, my butt. I'm leaking this oil. It's coming out of my butthole. I don't know what to do. And they're like, she goes, did you eat Orange Ruffy? I'm like, hey, like 1.5 pounds. And she's like, yeah, that's that orange oil. And I'm like, what the hell's orange? And in Texas, it's not oil, it's oil.
Yeah.
Because they can't pronounce anything in the South.
Orange oil.
And I'm like, well, what's that? Oh, yeah, don't do that again. I haven't eaten Orange Ruffy since. But imagine if you don't know what's going on, all of a sudden your butt starts leaking, and you have like motor oil coming out of your butt. It wasn't a good situation.
Dude, we need to make Orange Ruffy bars. According to this thing on PubMed, it basically says that there's a fatty acid in there and fatty alcohols that have wax esters in there, and because of that, it kind of almost acts as like a fiber. Wow. It's indigestible.
Yeah, it was definitely indigestible. And it scared the living bejeezers out of me, man. It was tough. I thought my body was falling apart. I thought everything was just falling out of me, like I was melting. Like it was crazy.
God dang.
Don't do
disgusting.
What are you doing for this prep? Anything? Was there anything special? Is there anything like what is your, I guess, standard go-to prep that you like to do? Do you go 12 weeks, 16 weeks? I do know that you like to get like really, really lean.
Because my genetics suck. I have a horrible body, so I have to get lean in order to stand out. So, I mean, I don't have the best
structure. In order for people not to recognize all your flaws,
yeah,
you just
exactly.
Get shredded.
They're like, oh my God, is that his kidney? And they don't notice my arms suck. I like when people online like say, hey bro, your arms are bad. I'm like, hey bro, I own a mirror.
What's bad about your arms?
They're just they're not proportionate to my chest and back. Nothing I can do about it.
I like your arms.
I mean, if I'm looking at myself,
Nsima said they look smooth and silky.
They really do.
If I'm being objective about my own physique, I can see what everybody else can see, man. I got, I have a really good torso, and I got my arms are good if I weighed like 30 pounds of mass less in my chest and my back. It is what it is. Good middleweight arms, shitty heavyweight arms. It is what it is. Calves, my structure is actually pretty good. Good quads, good hamstrings. My glutes come in sharp. But honestly, for me, it's, enough fat to process things, around 70 grams of fat. Protein's around 280 right now, which with a weight of 220 is a good amount of protein. And carbohydrate is anywhere between 300 to 500 grams, depending on the day. So I'll have 2 days a week where I'm at about 500 grams of carbs, and then 2 at about 300. But I eat food sources. I'm good. I'm mostly 90% of my meat intake is going to be fish. I like fish. It just digests good for me. I love salmon.
It's pretty easy to eat usually.
Oh, it's great. And, vegetable wise, I get asparagus usually, broccoli. I just like them. I cook them on my Traeger grill. It comes out phenomenal. And carbohydrate, usually sweet potato, banana, or cream of rice digest really easy for me.
Are you the kind of guy who doesn't really care that much about what type of carbohydrate here and there, or is it strictly like rice, potato type of deal?
For me, it's all about digestion. When I travel, I take whey protein and rice cakes, and then I eat when I can, and I try to hit my macros as on point as possible. When I travel, it's give or take 10%.
Yeah, rice cakes work. They work really well for giving you a little boost for training and things like that.
It's 10 grams of carbs per cake. I can literally eat. That's 30 friggin' rice cakes for my lowest carb day. 30 rice cakes. You're literally eating rice cakes all day long. I mean, if you need a snack and you need to fill carbs, like rice cakes for dieting is phenomenal. I know they lack micronutrients.
Right.
But you know what? I own a supplement company. and we talked about this yesterday. There's a difference, and I own a supplement company, but I'm not an ass. You know, I understand. Look, if you eat a sweet potato right now, 8 ounces, that's 600 milligrams of potassium. If you take that in pill form, there's a chance your heart will stop. There's a difference between food vitamins and pill vitamins, synthetic versus natural. There just is. You know, so that's why I recommend, you know, I get those colorful vegetables when I can. I get the sweet potato. I get the asparagus and the broccoli. You know, I get the meat. And meat is so good for you. And that's why, you know, I can't be a vegan. You know, meat's the healthiest thing. And if you look at just empirically, I don't care what you're supplementing with, there are some phenomenal vegans out there. This kid on Instagram, Conscious Muscle, looks phenomenal. Guy like rescues pigs. I love the guy. He's a great guy, over the top vegan animal rights guy, but he lives by the sword. He literally saves pigs. The guy's gangster. I love anybody who stands for what they believe in, right? Anybody who's for the cause. But, you know, a lot of vegans, if you look at people when they usually go from meat to vegan to meat, or from anyway, usually you look very unhealthy. There's a lot of deficiencies, and there's ways to supplement around it, but I think any diet, even though it's someone who sells supplements, any diet that requires supplements to be whole is not a good diet. And if you want to say,
and you might include a bodybuilding diet in that scenario, because sometimes when you come down to the end, you kind of need supplementation because you're not eating as much food.
Yeah, I mean, I always take certain things, greens, you know, I always make sure they're in my diet. And supplements are just that, they supplement your diet, but they don't substitute. You know, that's where a lot of people come in. It's like you're either pro or anti-supplement. I'm like, what if you're pro food and pro supplement? Like, everybody takes this vehement, like, supplements are bad, this bad, because they're trying to sell you stuff. It is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, like, everybody who's come out against supplements, be it Sean Baker or Lyle McDonald, two guys I have tremendous respect for. They all ended up selling books, you know, and that's fine. I'm not against that, but there's always a cap. If you look, you follow the money. You know, you have to stand for something. You have to take a position. So if I'm going to come out and tell you all you need is 2 ribeyes a day and butter, you know, I can't tell you, hey, by the way, you know, if you looked into maybe supplementing some vitamin C, no, instead I'm going to argue that vitamin C is unnecessary. So it makes complete sense. But I do agree. I do agree with the carnivores. I agree that you really only need meat to survive. But I'm not talking about survival. None of us want, who in this room, from Cross to everybody over there to you guys, wants to be survive.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, no.
I want to be optimal. And yeah, you know, supplements, some of them are bullshit, but everything I do has science behind it because I take it all myself. Ask Cross. He's sitting there an hour this morning, an hour at night, watching me take my pills. Like, I'm literally, I'd be the king of deep throating based on my pill swallowing experience.
I like that. It was good visual.
Mark, I have a quick question for you, and we can come back to the supplements.
I'm getting a bad look for that one. That's like my wife. Did you just channel my wife? That was the look I get every day. Because she literally, her office is right across from mine. We built our house like that, where we have separate offices, but she can see me.
Oh, that's cute.
It's better than sharing an office. Right? Our marriage would not last. But she'll give me that look. She'll just look at me like, what the hell did you just say? That's that look. That was nice. That was nice. I'm gonna.
Good touch.
I wish someone took a picture of that and put your face next to hers. You know, other than the blonde hair,
it was perfect.
You mentioned your abdomen area. Yeah. I know you had surgery there, but I think you also mentioned that you're happy with how it's shaped better, or you're leaner there. Was that because you lost muscle after the surgery, or did you change something in your training that allowed you to lose some muscle there? Because people want to actually try to do that.
They sucked all the fat out of there, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, my obliques are still thick, which gives the illusion of a better bone. This bone, like, I can't lose anything here, and I'm just lean. But here, I actually think having thicker obliques, if you actually lends to a better V taper, because you come in from your lats, nice obliques, and you come in, it also gives you more room to striate, to get the nice little nooks and crannies. At the end of the day, I'll never stop deadlifting and squatting. You know, and wearing what I never understood, and this is bodybuilder logic, is, oh man, you know, I'm going to wear a belt all during my workout to bring my waist in. You do realize the whole point of belts is to increase your intra-abdominal pressure. Like, you're doing the opposite. Like, that's just a complete disconnection with physiology. The whole point of a belt, like the stupid bodybuilding ones where they're bigger in the back. When's the last time you hyperextended on it? Like, who designed that shit? Like, a belt is meant to be the same all around. In fact, I'd even want it bigger here,
Right.
so you could push out against. When you push
Yeah, a
out,
belt is not necessarily like it does work for your back, but it works for your back via you blowing your stomach up into it.
so what does that do? The bodybuilders say, man, I brought my waist in. I was wearing a belt the whole time. I'm like, naturally you did the opposite. You recruited more abdominal muscles. So maybe that they did have that Swedish study where they had maybe you target reduced because you activated your abs more, but it's not taking your abs out of play. And then you got I see pro bodybuilders and physique guys, and I don't want to, they're going to hate me for this, but I see them in the fucking waist trimmers. And I'm like, but they're people my training partner was wearing one and I didn't say anything. And I'm like,
Come on, bro. You can't be silent.
yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, man. It was like religion and politics. Those I'll bring up, but I won't bring up waist trimmers. People get really defensive about waist trimmers, but I've seen people I really respect put them on.
What supplements can people in general really benefit from? We all know that you don't necessarily need them. We all know that you sell them, but like, what have you seen that works really well? I know for myself, whey protein has been something I've utilized since I started, and I like it. I enjoy it. The flavors have gotten a lot better over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, they've advanced quite a bit. What have you seen? What are some things that, what are 4 or 5 things that people should probably invest in when they can?
Well, we're in the COVID era, and I don't want to make any recommendations. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying these replace proper medical treatment, testing, whatever, blah, 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 whatever the legal people say. I'm not saying these do it, but I think you got to look at the data of what's going on and what's in our environment right now, what's more important. And health and all that are very important, but you look at the data that is currently available on things like quercetin and viral replication, vitamin C, vitamin D. 85% of hospitalizations were vitamin D deficient in New York during COVID, the outbreak, when it really went crazy there. Vitamin D, quercetin, vitamin C.
What's quercetin, by the way? I've never heard of it.
Quercetin is
it part of like CoQ10? Or am I
you know what? As for what it comes from, it's I actually know this, but it's skipping my brain right now. So I'm going to totally butcher it.
Look it up, Andrew.
But look it up.
How would I even spell that?
Querictin. Quercetin. Quercetin.
I think it goes well with like vitamin C or something
so
as well.
quercetin, I believe it's
So it's a plant pigment flavonoid. Well, that's a cool word.
Flavonoid, yeah.
Flavonoid. There you go. Sorry, I can't read either. It is found in many plants and foods such as red wine, onions, green tea, apples, berries, ginkgo biloba, St. John's wort, American elder, all kinds of shit. Buckwheat.
Antioxidant, probably.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff.
so it does have tremendous data on serum replication. It's actually been likened to HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, which I know is a bad word on the internet now, but it has been. So you have quercetin, vitamin C, vitamin D. Dosing would be probably 500 milligrams a day of quercetin, vitamin C about 2 grams split in a couple doses, and then vitamin D 5,000 IUs.
Yeah.
5,000 IU vitamin D. The only one I make of those is vitamin D. I make a vegan one called Vega D3.
So what makes it vegan?
So it's usually vitamin D is derived from sheep wool grease, which is lanolin. Whereas ours is from lichens, which is a moss that grows on the side of hills and stuff. So, yeah. So ours is. So I actually found that I get my blood work done frequently. It actually had my vitamin D levels higher, and that could also be the fact that I was getting more sunlight living in Tennessee versus Illinois. But whatever, take that for what it's worth. Health supplements. Number one, we make something called Nectar, which I always take from Ambrosia, which is great for overall organ and body health.
What's in that? What's in it?
Everything from liver support items, to red yeast rice and stuff like that. Just really good overall health ingredients that, again, it's something that if you want to look it up, that's something I always travel with. As far as performance, creatine, beta alanine is optional, but it helps. Pico 2 has been shown to have similar results as beta alanine.
Pico? What's Pico?
Peak. PEAKO2.
Oh, okay. Pico
It's a cordyceps type mushroom blend that actually has gone head to head with beta alanine with similar performance benefits.
You know what it is?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Well, I know the cordyceps mushrooms, but the pico, I'm thinking like pico de gallo.
It's crazy that you're mentioning so many supplements that I haven't heard. Like, it's not like I take a crazy amount of subs, but like I've never heard of Pico 2, never heard of quercetin. Like, damn.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a lot of new stuff.
there's a lot of new stuff coming out, and I had to research with the virus. Look, I'm afraid of getting sick as much as anyone else, and I'm a health nut. So, I started researching everything I could when this thing came out. Like, how can I best protect myself and my family, and how can I contribute to society with some advice? But at the end of the day, I think we need to look past supplements and look at certain things that a lot of us don't get enough of, which is sunlight, which is exercise.
Yeah.
And those are things that are tantamount. Like those are things that we overlook that should be on everybody's list of what to do. But I always love a good pre-workout. I still love BCAA during training. I like them. The data is sufficient enough for me to recommend that. But as far as going crazy and over the top, a lot of things out there are just, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And that's why when people go like, oh, you're a scam artist, I'm like, my top 2 sellers are whey protein and a snack bar. I don't know if that's like...
They're versions of food, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically selling mostly food. Yeah, we do really well on supplements, and I'll stand by pre-workout with creatine, beta-alanine, betaine, which is a great power supplement. It's a good addition. It's very inexpensive to add. But I mean, look at what we're doing here. Like, tell me, you take something like this, which is phenomenal. This works. It works. I don't even know what the hell is in it, but it works. No, I'm just playing. You take certain things, they work. Like we know that MCT, we know that we're talking about C8, its benefits. The C8 version of MCT, that's something we have Forte from
You know what,
Ambrosia.
though, too? The way I look at it is, if you don't have the money to invest in it, it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But I look at it like it's just kind of fun.
Yes.
Like I'm going to implement this and see what happens. Last time I did that bodybuilding show, I used rice. I want to see what happens if I use sweet potato. Like just as small little changes. Last time I did this, I didn't know anything about salt. Now I know more about salt. I want to see what's going to happen with that. And you just make these small little changes. Did it work? Did it seem to help anything? It's not something that and with supplementation, it's not something you need to have all the time. So you don't need to feel like you need to have it all the time. Certain things like vitamin D, it might be good to take that often, but I would say with the exception of a couple of supplements, which are mainly vitamins and minerals, you probably don't necessarily need them daily. You probably don't necessarily need them all the time.
Nope.
But why not bring creatine in for a few weeks and just kind of see what happens? Bring in more protein, see what happens, see how it works.
I want to ask you a question in a second, but as far as something you said that I forgot, and it's salt and electrolytes. And a lot of people just don't get enough. Salt has been vilified because the government is run by stupid people who make stupid recommendations. You have idiots like Bloomberg taking it off the tables in New York. Most of us who exercise and train I was deficient in sodium once, and I didn't know what it was because everybody was like, and I couldn't get a pump. I didn't have a vein. It's the one thing I purposely put salt. I put salt in my not here, but in my other shaker cup. I always put
I put in coffee. I put in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You need salt, sodium. I like the whole forms of salt. I like Himalayan. I like sea salt. Anything that's whole, because there's other minerals in there beside the salt. What outside of food is your favorite supplement? Outside of food.
Outside of food, I would say, especially right now, what I probably consume the most of would be like a whey protein, which I guess is sort of like a
That's
supplement.
food. So let's say the pills, powders.
Yeah.
Let's say pre-workout, pills.
I've been on a pretty large dose of vitamin D for 6 years, 8 years.
How much?
6, 8 years.
Yeah, probably around somewhere around there. I kind of go through different phases because it's a fat soluble,
Yes.
so it can stack up in your system a little bit. But I would say it'd be rare for me to not get in like 10 or 20,000 IU. I take a lot, and I've been like, I used to get sick quite a bit.
Did you get a lot of sunlight? Did you go out in the sun a lot? Or
I try to get the sun a lot. I mean, we have these fires going on right now, but yeah, I go on 10-minute walks, multiple times a day. So I try to get some sunlight as well. And when I do take the vitamin D, I try to take it with a meal that has some fat in it, kind of in the hopes that it will, latch on to you a little bit better. But I think, all the research, all the different information about like whey protein or about any of these supplements, like about whey protein, how it can, kind of act almost like a carbohydrate. It can hit you so hard and things like that. Like these things are true, but they're only true in a sense of like when they tested it, who they tested it on, and under the circumstances. If you have a whey protein shake with some hamburger meat, that changes everything. It changes the dynamics of how it works. And my understanding is like the most available amino acids that we have are through like eggs, whey protein, and beef. The most bioavailable. So why not take advantage of, things like whey protein, and why not take advantage of, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Even just, putting cinnamon on things, or even having potassium with a meal can help stabilize blood sugar a little bit. So there's just a lot of little tricks. Is it going to make a huge difference? Or you'd be like, oh my God, the potassium's really working. Like, you're not going to be like freaked out by the way the potassium's working in your system.
That's
but
some good potassium, bro.
Yeah, it can assist you over a long period of time. Like I said, it's just kind of fun. You start to learn some of the chemistry of it, and you're like, I just want to try this for a while, see what happens.
And whey protein isn't just a food. I got really into, the government for some reason is starting to block N-acetylcysteine in products, because they said that there was some patent or medical whatever on it back in the 60s, and they're just now acting on it. NAC is used in liver support products and also hangover relief products. So as I looked into it, I actually looked into some of Will Brink's work. Will Brink's a really smart guy. He's been in the industry since the beginning, I think. He's been around a long time. And he has some phenomenal research on that he's posted in articles he's done on GSR, which is glutathione, which is a phenomenal antioxidant, antioxidant activity, which has been implicated in viral replication and all those different things. So as they're getting rid of NAC, people are asking me, what should I take? I'm reading up on Will Brink stuff. I'm like, holy crap, whey protein actually expresses or induces this GSR release as good or better than NAC. So when people say, whoa, don't eat whey protein, don't drink that, just eat steak. I'm like, well, steak's good, but whey protein has its place, and it can definitely help you. And that's why I hate, like, just like politics, I hate when people like, I'm a carnivore, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, whoa, what if, like, it's cool to try new diets. I've tried all of them. All right. I've even been a vegan, which is freaking terrible. But you got to keep your mind open.
Look at collagen. It came and it went, and people were like, it doesn't have the right amino acid profile. And now it's back.
And also, like, if you look at keto has its place. And like I said, I think it's evolving. I think now, I call them gluconeogenic diets, where they're heavy on protein. Cause like we were talking about the preference, like your body also, it's inefficient, but your body can make carbohydrate out of protein. Gluconeogenesis, it's genius. Your body is smart. Your body makes ketones because it has to, but it's a phenomenal energy source. So my thing is, if you're already converting the protein to gluconeogenesis, you supplement with BHBs and maybe some MCT, some C8 powder, some Fuerte we have at Ambrosia, or whatever you want to do. However your MCTs, that's fine. Induce those exogenous ketones. Get the exogenous ketones in your body so your brain can operate on that. Well, shoot, maybe we didn't have to have fat as high. Maybe we could do a higher protein diet and literally make it almost impossible to gain fat based on the evidence that's coming out. Like, we're learning every day.
Well, and then people will say that ketones are useless, but it's like, well, okay, maybe there was a misunderstanding of them. Just because you take ketones does not mean that you're on a ketogenic diet. But if you want to be able to potentially fight cancer or potentially fight against Alzheimer's or dementia or some of these things, ketones might be a great idea. And if you're in a caloric deficit, now you just have another energy source. So that it just kind of depends on what you're trying to say something works for. I think you mentioned earlier about ice, the guy that kind of came up with that whole concept. His whole thing when he started to kind of bash ice wasn't necessarily that ice doesn't do anything. His whole thing was that ice doesn't do what we thought it did.
Well, ice is great. If you lose a limb, I think that's where they because in World War I, they had people getting their arms blown off, and they're like, well, we got to put this on ice so it doesn't die. So there's definitely an application for ice, but for injury repair, for recuperation, like if you're sore, the worst thing you can do is ice. Like, it's bad. It's not good. If you have a swollen ankle, last thing you want to do is stop that recovery process.
It might feel good because it kind of numbs it. I know, like when I fell with my squat, I iced my foot a bunch, and then I talked with Starrett, and he was like, Kelly Starrett, he was like, don't ice it. He goes, wrap it, compress it. So I iced it, for a few days. And then once I got that information, I stopped doing that. There was no recognizable change when I was icing it. Like I would ice it for 20 minutes, and there was no change in the size of like my ankle.
Yeah.
I would wrap it, and I would keep it wrapped for about 5 minutes, and my daughter would help me take it off, and she'd go, "Dad, your ankle's a lot smaller." Like you could physically see that it shrunk way down. You know, it was doing what it was supposed to do right there at the moment. And then, of course, it would swell back up. But what is that kind of doing? It's getting blood in and out of the area over and over again.
Bingo. And should it be legal for someone to be as smart as Starrett? Like, that guy's too smart. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. He makes me feel stupid.
Smart and flexible.
Yeah, he's a flexible, smart man. But I think, I think just looking at things, people always, the beauty of research is you never say proves. You say it indicates or, there's evidence. When a scientist says proves, it usually shows they have an agenda, or it shows that they're trying to state something as a fact, when facts are very hard to come about. You could say, well, the research heavily indicates, and that goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. Like, as someone so skeptical on everything I do personally from a supplementation standpoint, who reads studies every single day for what I do, when I see people state that things are fact, and they're not fact, and they say, if you question the facts, you're against science. I'm talking about masks. That pisses me off.
Well, even good science is against science. That's the whole point.
Bingo. You're supposed to disprove. The whole point of studies is to disprove.
Right.
When you have no data on something, and that's why, a lot of supplements start out as a hypothesis. For example, you look at fenugreek extract. I believe it's testofen is the trademarked ingredient. They found out it worked on men because they gave it to a bunch of women for something. I forgot the exact story, but these women were, and it's testofen, it's a trademarked ingredient. And these women were like, they were getting pregnant, and they're like, whoa. And it was because two things. One, it was slightly increasing their fertility, it appears. And two is that it was making them horny. They're having more sex. Like, what if we did this in men? Then they found out it had similar effects in males in testosterone and libido. So that's what research does. You might go after one thing and find another thing. And that's why a good researcher, a good lab, or a good person at interpreting research will be able to look beyond it. And a lot of people you talk about the clickbait. You talk about the clickbait on the news articles. Studies are the same way. You got to look at the methodology. Like, there's a study I read the other day. It's like, oh, this proves our product work. It was on this peanut butter that claims to have 0 fat or carbs that I bashed. And I'm surprised they haven't sued me yet. But anyway, but if they do everything, the FTC will, don't worry.
Isn't the whole point of peanut butter to have some fat in it?
Yes, so good.
But my whole thing is, if you really did this, you just cured obesity, diabetes, and everything else. But anyway, so why would you waste it on a sport nutrition peanut butter? You just cured diabetes. But anyway, so like, hey, we get this study, I'm like, cool. I read the study. It had 3 total subjects in it, and it was done at a very questionable lab. And I'm like, not gonna do another video. It was like, but I don't need to go after these guys. I'm not heavily involved in the peanut butter market. I'm not with Big Peanut. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's my duty to get it out there that this is not cool. And people don't know how to read data. Like, oh my God, the subjects, it didn't say 3 sides, the subjects gained, blah. I'm like, how many subjects were there? What was the methodology? And what lab was this done at? And that's when I'm like, So you can make data. That's what crazy about the mask thing is, with data, they can literally do a study and have it say whatever they want, because most people can't read it anyway. And you see that a lot. So with data, you have to read old data. Like, if you're glutamine, there's another thing. Like, at the beginning, it had some good data, and as we start learning more and more, it's not a bad supplement. It just doesn't do what we thought it did. So if we just took the first studies or the first, hypotheses for that, we'd still be buying tons of glutamine. But now it's a supplement that could help some people, but for most of us, no. It's the most abundant amino acid in the body. But the initial application was, well, if it's the most abundant amino acid, we probably need more of it. Nah, not necessarily. Your intestine needs up most of it, but it could definitely help people with gastrointestinal distress. If you megadose it, Poliquin was giving people 50 grams post-workout in lieu of glycogen. Poliquin hated carbs. He did everything he could to make a more expensive way to get carbohydrate, but not have carbohydrate. And he was giving people 50 grams of BCA and 50 grams of glutamine post-workout. And I think Milos, he did, and I don't know if he still does it, but it worked. But it was really expensive way to get glucose.
Charles Poliquin was really mean. He was like, if you're not below 10% body fat, you have no business eating carbs. It's like, man, that's a pretty fucking tough standard, bro.
But you know what? Poliquin is the most, and we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
He is the most underrated guy. He brought so much. He brought us BCAA.
He opened up the market for people to make millions of dollars.
He brought us BCAA.
Fish oil.
Yeah, he brought us so many things. Bit anti-Semitic, but I'm okay with that.
He was definitely crazy.
Oh, he was
a lot of different
off
ways.
his rocker, but the guy, his training methodologies and his nutrition applications were so far. It was like Dorian's training. You know, he didn't read stuff; he created stuff, and that's what made him special. So Poliquin is definitely somebody, even though he was crazy, and at the end he died really young too, which is sad. He had so much more to contribute to society from just a information.
He knew
standpoint.
like 7 languages or something. I mean, he was just
Some people are
really
so smart, they're a bit crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the crazy hot Matrix, but with smart people. You know, he was nuts. But yeah, I mean, he brought so much to the industry.
You know, real quick, I want to go back to the mask thing that you were talking about, because with everything that's going on right now and the amount of fear that there is, masks are one of the toughest thing to try to argue with somebody who's positive about it. Because, I mean, when you just think about it, you're like, well, they're particles. A mask should work, right? So, I mean, I feel like it's just too damn tough to have that argument.
It's hard to discuss particle size.
Yeah.
To the general, that's why I think the videos of the dudes vaping through a mask was funny. I think that dumbs it down. Where
I think also just a decent point is like, you know, do you really think the mask that you pull from the floor of your car where you stepped in dog shit 2 weeks ago, like, do you really think that's a good defense towards any virus or disease? Like, really? Like, you really think that's great? Like, do we put food in our pocket and then like eat it later on? You know, do you unpeel a banana and eat half of it and then stuff the banana back in your pocket? Like, you would never do anything like that. But with this mask, I mean, stuffing it in your shorts and just kind of putting it wherever you can and using somebody else's mask. I mean, we all have probably been in these positions at this point, and I have no idea whether it defends against COVID-19 or whether it doesn't. I don't believe that it does, but I can't imagine that that's a healthy practice in any way. And I mentioned it to you yesterday, is that they make such a big deal about certain things, and then other things are still totally fine. They need to eradicate handles. There's still fucking handles everywhere. They're everywhere. There's a handle to the bathroom. There's a handle. Like, can't we push stuff with our elbows, or can't we push stuff with where we have clothing, like push stuff with your hips or your butt, or use your shoe or something? Like, there are things that you can open with your shoe. You can hook your heel to stuff and open doors that way. But it's unbelievable. It's like, why are we so crazy this way? And even a restroom, like the restroom, when you go to use the restroom, you wash your hands and then you still need to touch a door. You still need to grab a door handle. And there's no science. There's no way that you can tell me that's safe in any way.
It's kind of like the 6 feet rule, where it changes by country. Like, COVID has different distance carrying. All I'm asking for. And I will, all I'm asking for is some data. You've had plenty of time. You have you have trillions of dollars in funding from the U.S. Yet this little bitch Fauci won't do it. It's like, I could put the study together tomorrow if I cared.
That's been verified. He is a bitch.
Yeah, he is a little bitch. I mean, that's a scientifically validated fact. You know, my whole thing is, you know, I just want evidence. And if you prove to me that the mask will significantly decrease. And then there's another thing. Viruses will always be here. When do we get to take them off? Because psychologically, that's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
I looked around yesterday at Walmart. I looked around at the airport. I'm like, this is not the new normal. I don't want this. I smile at people. I don't wear my mask right. I put it around my chin. I smile at people.
See what Elliot Hulse did, though? He had a see-through thing. Yeah.
Well, but
That's great.
Yeah, Elliot's wow. He's so evolved throughout the years, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Now he's wrestling people in dirt and holding guns, and he's gone totally different from Strength Project days, man.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, back to the mass thing. Yeah, I just all I want is data and consistency. But right now, if you don't see there's some mind control and population control going on, then you don't want to see it. And to completely bash anybody who that's the thing, you can't question it. It's like the whole crying racism thing. Well, you know what? I think what I said earlier, if I was having a discussion with people who weren't open-minded, not necessarily on my side, and I say, you know what? I think right now Trump's, well, that's because you hate black people. Wait, how did that even get? It's if you call someone a racist, there's no you can't come back.
You can't.
Also, the nuclear family thing. Well, I don't like Black Lives Matter as a group. I do think Black Lives Matter, but I don't like Black Lives Matter because I do believe in a strong nuclear family. So you're saying you don't like black people, and that's the argument. What a brilliant. Speaking of marketing, what a brilliant thing, Black Lives. You can't be against. It's like we love Marxism. Well, I don't like that part of Black Lives Matter. Are you saying you want to kill all black people? It's like, whoa, what a great name. It's like, I'm going to call something like, I love puppies, and I'm going to have my platform be under I love puppies that, we should send all Jews back to Israel. Right?
I don't like that. You don't like puppies?
You want to kill Lassie? You bastard. It's like, what a brilliant market. Dude, I have a degree in marketing, and even I'm like, but think about it. You can't be against. They stand for, and I look at stuff that's going on, like the LA Teachers Union. I'm sorry to even bring this up, but they're to come back from COVID-19, and they have 4 bullet points which aren't even related to the disease. Defund the police was one of them. I'm like, you're a fucking teacher.
Yeah.
You evil bastards. Just go back and teach the damn kids. All right? I'm sorry. That's where I lost it. And I love teachers, man. I'm a public school fan because I pay taxes. I'm not paying for private school too. I'm cheap. But anyway, I'm like, dude, you can't expect me to take you seriously and be like, well, we want the safety of our kids, so we really want to stop paying police officers. I'm like, that's anti-safety. What? Mm-hmm. I don't know how that happens. And if anybody can't look in and see that there is something nefarious going on, I can't even argue with you. If you haven't seen it yet, you're in the dark. I'm just moving on. That's why I don't engage with liberals anymore. I just don't. Oh, Trump's racist. Cool, he's racist. Great. Well, what am I going to do? Well, your guy voted against ending segregation. And I'm not Trump's guy. I can't say, and I don't want to be, people get mad at me for doing that. Well, I don't really like Trump, but I'm voting for him. Why don't you like Trump? I'm like, I said, I'm voting for him. Shut up. I'm like, you finished. You don't need to argue. You don't need to sell me on him. I'm good. Unless somebody else jumps in, unless Tulsi runs third party, even then it'd be a wasted vote.
Yeah.
I like Tulsi. She's hot too. Can somebody let that out? She's hot. I don't want to sound like I'm voting for her because she's hot, but it's definitely a determining factor. I'm not going to lie. Melania being on Trump's team, that definitely sways me.
When I see my wife and I are watching TV, and we're always watching these murder mystery things, and whenever the woman is hot, I'm always like, oh man, it sucks so bad. She was so hot. My wife's like, you're the worst. She's like, it just shouldn't matter who. I'm like, but it does matter. It's more impactful. It hurts me.
Men are pigs. I mean, yeah, but I mean, no, it's good to have Trump's a pretty decent looking 70-year-old man. Right? It helps to Obama was a great looking man.
He's got his hair going for him.
Trump's good looking. Trump used to be a player though.
Look at Trump's wife.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. She definitely swayed me to his side. Yeah, she's the hottest first lady ever.
He's figured it out.
You don't like Melania?
So good.
For a 7-year-old guy.
Okay.
Did you see her nudes? She's got really perky boobies.
I haven't.
They're great.
Many may disagree on this, but I do think Michelle was better looking than Melania. She also looks younger than Melania. Melania wears a lot of makeup.
I'm not saying Michelle's not
doll.
I'm not saying Michelle's not attractive.
I know. You're just saying Melania is you said Melania is the hottest first lady.
But I think Obama was a good looking man too.
He was very good looking.
Very good looking. JFK, good looking man.
Yes, he was too.
Reagan wasn't.
I don't remember what his JFK's wife looked like currently. I don't remember, but I remember I've seen pictures she was a good looking first lady. And I would think because Melania just really looks just fake. That's why I can't agree with you on that
I
statement.
like fake stuff though.
Fair
I'm
enough.
a bodybuilder.
Fair enough.
Shit.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
put
enough.
synthol in my friggin' toes, man.
Nice.
I have some huge big toes.
We had a comment come in on the live chat, and
Yes.
it was from Ramon saying like he's down to wear a mask if that means that he can like openly go to a business or something.
Yeah.
So what's your response to something like that? Because I think a lot of people feel that way. They like I don't like masks either, but it's like shit. I have to go get groceries, so I'm gonna throw one on.
I think the concern is what's coming down the pipeline. Like where we draw the line. What are you going to tell me to do next?
The Jew argument. When do we, well, you know what? If we just have to get rid of these friggin' Jews and put them on the bus, send them to the showers, have them do slave labor. I know that sounds extreme, but that's how it starts. First, they take your guns,
It's like,
then
okay,
they
you
start
can-
burning books. They take down statues. Look, dude, I live in the South. I live in Tennessee. Confederacy. Like it happened. I don't like Confederacy. I don't even like the Confederate flag. But guess what? That was like, what did Joe Rogan say in his comedy? He's like, that's only 3 people ago. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, that's only 2 people ago that Confederacy was here. 2 people ago. God, I fucking love that comedy skit. That was one of my favorite shows. So think about it. Like, you can't erase history. Look, I don't want a statue of Adolf Hitler put in my fucking town square. I just don't want it. But it's part of history. And, you gotta be concerned when the government tells you to do something with absolutely no evidence that it does anything. And you have to be concerned that every time something like this happens in history, they eradicate more and more and more of your rights. And that's something we need to be vastly concerned about. Look, I don't give a shit about putting cloth over my face, but as Americans, we should have the right to take risks. Like, if I want to go bungee jumping tomorrow, I'm allowed to go bungee jumping, right? Well, bungee jumping doesn't hurt anybody else. Cool. Then show me one study that shows that masks will help other people. Okay. And also, like, what about people who have asthma? Like, if we're going by percentage of population who's like very small, 65 plus are really vulnerable to this disease. Whereas we never wore a mask for the flu and it kills predominantly kids. We never wore a mask for H1N1. It kills predominantly kids and infected over 60 million people. Okay, so where do we draw the line? And also, when do I get to not wear a mask? That's the question. Is this the new normal?
Well,
I'm not going to accept that.
Here's another key factor. The coronavirus is not that dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a major factor in the whole thing. So yeah, I get it. People want you to put it on. They're like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. Well, if it's not that big of a deal, why do I need to fucking wear it? The virus, the information that will come out, hopefully it comes out at some point. Hopefully these politicians and other people didn't marry their beliefs so strongly they can't ever get divorced from them. But they may have, and maybe real numbers will never even appear. But I just think how dangerous this thing is in comparison to something like influenza. Like if it was influenza 19, I think we would have a whole host of other problems happening. I think if influenza was new in 2019, this would have been a real tragedy because we would have had a lot of dead children on our hands, and that would fucking suck. We had people die that were old, that were within range of dying anyway. 40%.
And the deaths haven't gone up in this country.
Right.
We're at the same level of deaths we were pre-COVID-19, which means that basically it's killing people that would have probably, I hate to say, it sounds so cold and callous, but unfortunately, Ben Shapiro says it, facts don't have feelings. And he's Jewish, so I had to quote at least one Jew. It's in my book. I signed up. When I got my ownership of Hollywood, I had to agree to that. But no, I mean, look, it sounds really callous, but we can't stay inside and put masks on until people stop dying. At the end of the day, the people who died, the same amount of people who died this year, who died last year, died this year, just about within a very marginal range. And there's not a huge spike in deaths. And also, as data comes out, and we'll argue data, it turns out that people who died of strictly COVID is around 10,000. Now, put that at 10,000 is a lot of people. If you're just talking about Mark's Street.
Explain that to some people real quick, because they're like, what do you mean
There's a
just
point,
COVID?
the 0.06%. So basically 0.6%, whatever it was, 6%. So basically, people who died of COVID had one, I think it was one or more comorbidities. So a comorbidity could be anything from cancer to obesity. So there's a wide range of comorbidities. But think about comorbidities. It means it contributes to death. So these people could have been picked off by flu, pneumonia, or a host of other infections or diseases. They could have fallen, gotten an infection, and died. So until I see overall death rate go up by hundreds of thousands, but even then, let's put this in perspective. There are 350 million people in the USA. If the deaths are truly over 150,000, statistically speaking, how many people die of, what is it? I think it's like over 1 million people of malpractice. So do we ban doctors? Do we ban medical treatment? How many people die of car accidents? So it sounds really big and scary that 150, that's the worst case scenario when they guess 2 million, right? So let's say 150,000 or between 10 and 150,000 people died of COVID, right? All of those numbers don't scare me statistically because people die. It's a part of life. And like I said earlier, Woodstock was done during a pandemic. We had H1N1 here in 2009. And yet we have not just our country, we have Melbourne, Australia, literally going in and picking people off if they go over their hour of allowable outdoor activity a day. We have only one country of note who's done it correctly, and that's Sweden. And they have yet to give one fuck. And they are crushing it right now. And they've reached herd immunity, or at least close to. All we're doing with lockdowns, I would say masks, but I don't think masks do anything to mitigate the spread of COVID. All lockdowns and all these stupid things like closing gyms do is delay our inevitable herd immunity. It's making this go on longer. And whether that's just from stupidity or nefarious reasons, I don't know. But I'm leaning towards stupidity. I don't know if these people are smart enough to be that nefarious. I think we're just governed by idiots, and people want to do the right thing. And why not? Because if you say what Mark, myself, and everybody in here is saying today, if you say what we're saying, you're immediately labeled as evil, as not caring about grandma, as selfish, as ma haircut, whatever they say about us. Well, I'm done being quiet. And I think those of us need to speak up, because I've had people message me and say, you know what? You're right. I am changing minds. It might be one or two, but what if everybody with a voice changed one or two minds? And notice more people in fitness are speaking out against this than anyone else. You had that pro female volleyball player come out and say, I went into a store without a mask. Sorry, did it. Got a bunch of hate. All right, but how many minds did she change? Those people who hate her, they would have hated her for saying that anyway. How many, maybe she changed 2 minds. You look at the fitness industry, you look at Bradley Martin refusing to close down his gym, turning off his water and power. That's a hero right there. You look at Attila's gym. If you look at where the fights or the battles are being won, it's in the gyms. Attila's gym is ground zero for fighting these lockdowns. Attila's gym, a strip mall gym in Belmar, New Jersey, which I will be going to in 2 weeks. I can't wait to go see those guys. Ian Smith gets fined like 10 grand every day or something like that, right? And guess what? That is America right there. Somebody who has his own opinion. And it might or might not be right. It might or might not be wrong. But that's what makes America beautiful, is we can disagree. But the one thing I think we need to all agree on is that these lockdowns and the masks are unconstitutional. And we have literally forfeited our constitutional rights in the guise of safety. And at the beginning, I'm okay with it because we didn't know. But as the data comes out, the fact they're doubling down on these lockdowns and these masks either proves that we're being governed by complete idiots or that we're being governed by Satan themselves.
Well, it's a good lesson to learn that we should probably never be okay with it.
We should never
because the beginning was the beginning of them being able to leverage. If everyone in the beginning was kind of like, fuck that.
You know what tomorrow is? You know what tomorrow is? That's month 6 of 15 days to flatten the curve. 6 months. From 15 days to flatten the curve. You can never give an inch on your constitutional rights, because once they start taking away, and I speak as a descendant from Holocaust survivors, we cannot let that happen. We can never let this happen. And I don't care what it takes. I don't care if it takes Second Amendment rights. That's why we have them, for this very purpose. Second Amendment isn't there. It's not there for us to protect our houses. It's there for, it helps, yeah. It's not written for us to protect our car from being carjacked in LA. Second Amendment rights is literally to prevent what we're seeing right now, and that's tyranny. Like it or not, that's how it was written. There's nothing in the Second Amendment about hunting. Look for the word hunt. Go pull up the Second Amendment on Google and type Control F and type in hunt. It's not on there. They didn't give a shit about shooting deer. They cared. The founders knew that as the government evolved, they would become power hungry and you would get career politicians. And here we are. And most of America is just bending over and taking it. But I still think America has its threshold, its limit. And I think we're there. And
You're starting to see it. We are starting to see people protest even COVID and things like that. And I think it's healthy for people to do so. And I think even just based off of what you just said, I would encourage people to go into supermarkets without a mask, See if you can get another person or two to go with you.
Yeah, I mean,
why not? Right?
You know what? I always keep mine there because I do respect private ownership of property, and I'll have a mask. But luckily, where I live, I don't have to protest.
Right.
Franklin, Tennessee. Again, I believe we have a rate, which, by the way, at one point was at 0.55 till they realized they never updated the list. So we literally missed 2 weeks of school because of either an accounting error or because they're evil. And they didn't want our kids to go back to school. Went from 0.5, which is it had to be under 0.5 to go back to school, to 0.14 per 1,000. Wow. So either we have idiots in Williamson County or we have evil actors behind the scenes trying to keep our kids out of school for whatever reason it is. So again, I don't have to worry about that. And one thing I did change my view on, don't leave your state. I left Illinois for tax purposes. I'm not going to lie. And for the weather, dude, I'm not living there. But if I was in California, don't leave your state. Fight. Fight for your state. Your state is your home. Instead of giving up and moving to Tennessee like I did and living a free life, breathing that free air without a mask. No, instead of doing that, you know what? Fight. Do what Ian Smith is doing at Attilas Gym. Make a change. And that's what we need to do. And I'm not going to sit here and incite anything, but I'm saying, man, his history does not bode well in favor of those that roll over to government. It just doesn't. And I encourage you guys to read up on history. And those of you who are afraid of this virus, stay home. Stay home. Don't tell me to stay home. I'm not telling you to leave your house. You can Netflix and chill all day long and watch cuties. I don't care what you do. Okay, I do care about that. But that's the thing, guys. I'm just here because I love my country. And I will do what I can. I see us going down a dangerous path of tribalism and just being completely subservient sheep, which throughout history leads to genocide. Yes, I made that leap.
There's going to be some other information that comes out. And when the information comes out, it will start to just be more and more undeniable that this whole thing was what I've said from the beginning, a hoax. And people are like, it's not a hoax, it's real. A hoax does not necessarily mean that it's not real. It just means that there's been a lot of deception going on. And this is the biggest deception that this country has ever faced. It's the biggest deception that the world has ever faced, in my opinion. And even when it comes to testing, they'll keep trying to hammer us with the cases. You have to realize we've had people on the show that have come on and said, they blame COVID on just about everything. We already know that side of things. But they also, when it comes to COVID-19, the type of testing that they do, if there's any remnants of PCR, which can happen from other viruses as well, if there's any remnants of that, then it still counts as COVID. And so the story's not out all the way yet. But when it does come out, we're going to look back and say, all of that shit was a waste of time, a waste of energy. The thing is it worth it? Was any of it worth it? Because you got to think about the amount of money, right? And I think people always get money a little twisted, but money fucking kills people.
It does.
When you drain people's money, you drain people's life over a period of time, because that's just the way society works. It puts a demand. That's the way it works. It's our currency. It's how we are able to obtain things. And when you start to drain that out, you start to really mess with people, and we end up losing more. So in the end, there's no scenario where this will ever make any sense to where any of this has ever been worth it whatsoever.
I'm all for it. Like, again, I I wasn't a fan of it at the time, but I understand the initial reaction. I can give you 8 weeks. I can give you 8 weeks, but as data came back and we started learning more and more and more, the fact that you still have New York, Illinois, California, Michigan, the fact you still have these states doubling down and even saying they might need to lock down again, that's either complete ineptitude or, again, it's something beyond evil. Where I saw a video, we were living in an apartment for 6 months till our house was built in Tennessee. So we're living in a 5 people in like a 1,200 square foot apartment, lockdowns. It wasn't bad in Tennessee. And our kids, no friends. They closed school after they were there for like a month. Like the soccer was over, and I'm sitting there and my wife sends me a video on Facebook, and I'm like, it was this guy whose kid, he went and built a well, kid was healthy and everything, and kid goes out, his monitor breaks. His computer monitor breaks. That was his only attachment to the world. Killed himself. Healthy kid. And at that point, I realized that our kid's only connection to the world was that computer monitor. And all of our kids had their lives taken away from them. Now they go to school, they can't even smile at their classmate because they're wearing masks. What do you think that does psychologically to children? What do you think that does for the next generation? So at that point, every day I lived in fear of my kids committing suicide because that kid was normal. He had a good father. He's gone forever. For a disease that doesn't kill kids. More kids in California died in Kobe Bryant's plane crash or helicopter crash than died of COVID-19. Think about it. And for that, you have kids out of school, outside of sports. Think about it. Kids are missing their senior year where they're working for scholarships. Guess who's getting those scholarships? Kids in Arizona, kids in Tennessee.
Remember how fun those times were?
Those were the best. We were just talking about Coach Miles, Leon Hatton. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't have existed because of a weak-ass virus that doesn't affect kids. And masks. Who cares if they work? I'm serious. You can't smile at your neighbor? Really? We're giving elbow bumps? The fuck is that? You're going closer to do that. Like, what? And we're then touching handles. Like, what? The sheer, Cross is probably getting sick of me. I'm like, this fucking clown world. Like, what are we doing here? And then I can't understand anybody. The voice is muffled. They're behind a plastic shield. We're living in a clown world, and people are just, it's saving lives. We're all in this. We're not all in this together. We're all in this together. Tell it to the guy who lost his job, who's on unemployment. Tell it to that guy.
And is everyone that's dead, did they not practice these things? Did they not wear a mask? Did they not have social distancing? Did they hear the information too late? Like, what's the excuse,
Well, there's no excuse. The excuse is that we've been sold a bill of goods, and a lot of people they refuse to admit they were wrong. And we're at a point now where I'm the first one to say evidence. I'm frigging sure that we're doing this wrong. I think some are doing it right. South Dakota did it right. The beauty of the United States is 50 sovereign states. They're all governed by their independent president, the governor, right? Tennessee did it 80% right. 60, 70 maybe. California, you're batting about 2%, But other than that, other than a handful of states, which by the way have way less death rate than New York and California, because we didn't shove people in nursing homes with COVID.
What did South Dakota do, by the way?
What's up?
South Dakota, what did they do?
Nothing.
Oh.
Kristi Noem is she needs to be president. She is amazing. She's hot. So notice hot chicks are just smarter. I'm telling you, man. I think we should have I
think you're impartial, but go ahead.
Yeah. But I really do think that the states that did it right, South Dakota, Tennessee did a pretty good job. Texas did okay. Florida did okay. But South Dakota they pulled a Sweden on us, man. She's like, no, I'm not taking away. That's unconstitutional. I'm not doing it. She refused to do it, and what Trump, I've been the most vocal against Trump. I don't think he should have ever done the 15 days, but he had no choice. Imagine if he didn't do 15 days. Shoot, yeah. He's getting shit for not dude, Biden's the one who said that closing down the border to China is xenophobic. Suddenly Trump didn't close it down fast enough. Like, they're literally lying and just doubling down on the lies. I'm like, why didn't well, Trump didn't do enough. I'm like, so you think Biden's plan of leaving the flights open to China was better? Like, again, if you do a decision, like, it's automatically racist. Xenophobia is racism, basically. It's racism to foreign countries, whatever. Racism it's a fucking straw man. It's a straw man. You can't argue against it. Because if you argue against it, then you're not anti-racist. I don't even know what the fuck that means. You know, we can't have tangible arguments anymore because we point to stupid things we can't fucking control. Pigment. I can't control that I was born white. Like, I can't control that my ancestors came from Europe. It was cloudy as fuck. And somebody else's ancestors came from Africa where it's really hot. I can't control that. Like, we control our character. We can't control. Yeah. We can't control our pigment. I mean, that's just the stupidest shit I've ever heard. We had a guy in the elevator last night. We're going up to the room, and I'm like, they didn't have masks on there. I'm like, you come in. He's like, oh, we didn't have masks. We forgot them. I'm like, oh, come on in. And I'm like, oh, where are you guys from? I had an accent. I'm from South Africa. I'm like, oh, so you're an African American. He's like crazy. He said they were lying. It was funny. I'm like, he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm more African than pretty much most people here.
Technically,
it was so funny. But they were just cool people. But yeah, it's one of those things where he's from Africa, right? Like, he's an African American. Like, who cares? That's why I can't empathize with racism. That's why I might sound insensitive to a lot of people who talk about racism, because I don't understand it and I can't empathize with it because I don't feel. When
you say you can empathize with it, what do you mean?
I can't.
Someone's going to hear that.
I cannot empathize with people who are racist. Empathy means you could put yourself in that's one quality that humans have that separates us from apes.
Gotcha.
And I don't even know. I've never been an ape, but I kind of look like one, you know. I have long arms. I have great deadlifting arms, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, we humans have the ability to be empathetic. We have the ability to I could feel like if you get hit in the face, I could be like, nah, looks like it fucking hurt, you know? I can't understand how anybody could judge someone by the color of their skin. I just don't get it. And I grew up in a neighborhood, thank God, that was so diverse. You know, that I had Latino friends, I had black friends, I had Asian friends. My football team was, the flags of the world, man. Like, and these are guys that I traveled with, I showered with. Yes, we showered. We lived, like, those were my boys. And I never looked at someone like, well, this is my white family, this is my black family. All my cousins on my dad's side are black. I have more black Lobliners than I have white. I never saw them. Yeah, it's funny. I do make jokes. My black cousins, because they look like my cousin David looks like me, but with black face. It's fucking crazy, and he acts like me too. It's great. It's like he's like the Black Mark. Yeah. But I never saw anybody. I never looked at anybody differently. And if you look at kids, you put them in a playground. They don't give a fuck. They play. It's like, they don't even know what they are. My daughter didn't realize till she was like 8 that, hey, we look a little different. I'm like, yeah, we all look different. Okay, cool. That was it. Yeah. Kids aren't racist. That's a learned thing. That's something that's taught. Bigotry is taught. Yep. And that's why we can't go on around the world thinking everybody's, I think most people think like me. I think most Americans think like me. I think we do. I think most countries think like me. I've been to Australia, I've been to the UK, I've been to Brazil, I've been all over, man. Canada, I mean, I don't think people are inherently racist. I think that's driven us by the media. I think there are racists. I think they exist. I think there is racism, but I don't think it's not something that I think should consume us. I mean, there are some things, some injustices we need to address on many sides. But at the end of the day, man, yeah, I can't empathize with ignorance. And I don't think we should give them the time. I think we all have an opportunity to get out in America. It might be harder for some groups. It was harder for me. I didn't have anybody to pay for me. Like, my kids have all the greatest trainers in the world, the best equipment, fucking $200 soccer cleats, like 3 pairs. I had Big 5 Sporting Goods, man. I had a $30 pair of Nikes, like the sale clearance item, like a size too small because they were out of 10.5s, But we all have our obstacles. And there might be systemic racism. I don't know. I don't know the system. I can't even figure out what we're locked down right now. You want me to explain systemic racism? But at the end of the day, I know a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds, with a lot of different skin tones, with a lot of different voices, a lot of different accents, who are either crushing it or not. And the thing that separates them is this. So whether systemic race, okay, there's systemic racism. Okay. Well, fuck it. Beat it. Like, oh man, I can't, man, mama's a drug addict. Nothing I can do about that. I can't control being white. Look, here's systemic racism. And I don't want to, for the least bit, downplay the historical slavery and all the bad shit America did, which was, America did some bad shit. But look, man, when I was trying to get into college, they weren't accepting whites. That's pretty systemically racist. Wouldn't you agree? So what I do, I learned how to play football because it was my way around that shit. Start your own business. There's minority business loans. There's
a lot of avenues.
There's a lot of avenues. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not going to stand here with my white privilege, whatever the fuck that is. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that systemic racism doesn't exist. I don't know. Nobody knows because it's systemic.
But on an individual level, there's nothing anybody else can do but try to work past whatever blocks might be in your way.
We all have our blocks. You know what I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for rich people. Think about our kids. Our kids have everything. They don't have to do anything. They know that we're like, hey man, if you don't do this, no, you're not. You're not going to kick your kids out of the house. Shut up. I'm not doing it. It's all hot air. They hopefully don't listen to this, but it's all hot air. I'm going to love them no matter what. And if they need a house, they fall on their face, I'm going to let them in. I'm going to let them live in the house till they're 30 if they want to. I said I won't, but I will. I didn't have that, dude. At 17, I was the F out of the house. So I feel bad for the kids who don't have that. That's where you see these Antifa punks run around. They're all a bunch of rich white kids. They don't have that, where if they fail, if they spend every night rioting and burning shit down, mommy's going to bail them out of prison. I didn't have that. So yeah, there is a benefit to struggle. There's a benefit to it. So I feel bad for the friggin', white bread, kid who has spoon in his mouth, who doesn't have to worry about adversity. Adversity creates strength. Sorry.
Yeah, forces creativity. Why don't you kind of also wrap it up and just kind of tell people where they can get your outright bars, because those things are freaking unreal.
Things are freaking amazing.
Yeah, and Nsima almost died eating
God.
them. And tell people where they can find you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube as well. I have The Tiger Fitness, and we'll have a lot of content from this weekend up here. So tigerfitness.com, MTS Nutrition's mine. We also have the Outright Bar. It's, of course, the Tiger Fitness. We're also the #1 bar at Vitamin Shop, and we should be widespread by hopefully March of next year in Target. So available at some gas stations. Hard to figure out which ones, but things are going well. So that's where we're at. But other than that, you can follow me on social media at Marc Lobliner, pretty much everywhere else but YouTube.
Awesome. Andrew, you want to take us on out of here?
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for checking out today's episode. If you guys are as fired up as Mark is on this podcast, please share this with a friend. I know you know somebody that you've probably been going back and forth, especially about masks. So please share this episode with them. Please make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram. Tag us if you guys like today's conversation, and also on Twitter at MB Power Project. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where are you at?
Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Yin Yang on Twitter. Mark?
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.